Martinsville Speedway in Virginia for the Goody's 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race. It has rained on and off throughout the night and early this morning here in Martinsville, but the forecast calls for the chance of rain to decrease significantly this afternoon. Here are the point standings going into the 25th race of the year. The 181-point lead that Dale Earnhardt has over Rusty Wallace. And the tight battle for third between Martin and Jarrett, neither one of whom are out of the points championship. And fifth place, Morgan Shepherd. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Jenkins. Welcome to Martinsville. Last week we saw at Dover how just one incident can have a significant effect on the point standings. An incident that resulted in Dale Earnhardt's 27th place finish. Rusty Wallace went on to win that event. It was on the high-speed track at Dover where you don't expect contact. This is the notorious half mile at Martinsville where you do expect contact. Dale Earnhardt is certainly hoping for a better fortune than last year in this race. He finished last with engine problems. This is a race where anything can happen. And Ned and Benny, we also saw it's a place where anything can happen during qualifying.
Right, Bob. NASCAR allows the teams to draw for a qualifying position. And sometimes the luck of the draw is not exactly what you would want. On Friday, it definitely was not the place to be up front. In fact, Mark Martin, who normally qualifies well here because he owns the track record, was the first car to go out, and Benny being first was not the place to be on Friday.
Terrible disadvantage. Just before practice was over, Sterling Marlin blew an engine. Now, NASCAR put oil dry down. The cars ran through it for about 10 minutes. But as the cars lay dormant for an hour waiting for qualifying, a little breeze blew some of the oil dry on in the groove. Mark Martin, Terry Labonte, Jeff Gordon all qualified poorly.
And as a result, they're pitting on the backstretch. Only 17 drivers. The fastest 17 will pit on the front stretch and the other 17 on the backstretch. And, of course, we all know that's not the place to be.
That's definitely not the place to be. But, Ned, there's a guy who normally here in the spring was on the back. He finished fourth. He's pitting on the front and running very well.
And that's Darrell Waltrip. He has 11 victories on this half-a-mile track, so watch for him today. A couple of other drivers to watch for are starting on the front row. For more on that, let's go to the pits and John Kernan.
Ned, a couple of very familiar numbers here leading the pack at Martinsville for today's Goody's 500. The 28 and the 7 car start 1 and 2 respectively. Now this marks the 4th race for Ernie Irvin in the Robert Yates Ford. And already they have a pole. And you know, earlier this year, Ernie and Davey Allison were talking. Davey told him that it was a great team. At that point in time, Ernie had no idea he'd be able to find out firsthand just how good they really are. This is the 2nd race in the number 7 Ford for Jeff Bodine since taking over his own team. Jeff won this race last year and knows that a win here today could help get him on the Winner's Circle program for next year. But what about the driver who was driving the 7 car? For more on that, let's go further down pit road to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And John, that would be 47-year-old Jimmy Hensley from nearby Horse Pasture, Virginia. He is super subbing today, subbing again in Richard Petty's STP Pontiac for Rick Wilson, who's injured last week at Dover, Delaware. Rick actually hurt himself. He broke a rib, has pulled another rib. He will test in that car this next Wednesday at Charlotte. The test goes okay. He will come back and drive at Wilkesboro. If not, possibly Hensley will be back in the car. Another driver injured last week, Brett Bodine, the Quaker State Ford driver. Last Friday, he slammed the wall, turn 3, Dover, Delaware, driver's side first, sustained a concussion, but most importantly, broke his right forearm, the radius, the big bone in the right forearm. Had surgery this past Tuesday morning in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Sports Medicine Associates put an external fixation device on, a couple of wires, an external block, and he will try to drive 500 laps here today. If he can't, well, they'll have another sub standing by. That is Dick Trickle standing by to go in as we get set to fire him up here at Martinsville Speedway. Bob?
Some 7 drivers are in cars for this race that they were not in at the beginning of the 1993 season as we get set for the Goody's 500. Back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, and the sun is out here and the weather is looking much better. Boy, we have had bad weather here since we arrived, really. Just lucky to get the race in yesterday, but now bright sunshine down on this speedway as we get set to go 500 laps. And here is a look now at the AC Delco starting lineup for today's event. On the pole is Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California. The number 28 Texaco Haviland 40 qualified at 92.583, not a record. Outside is the number 7 Family Channel Ford driven by Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York. The second row is Sterling Marlin from Columbia, Tennessee, in the Robustus Ford car number 8. Flanked by Rusty Wallace, going for 3 in a row. He's in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac car number 2. Fifth starting spot is Kyle Petty in the mellow yellow Pontiac number 42. And then the number 17 of Darrell Waltrip, the Western Auto Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt will start in 7th position in the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet number 3 alongside Jimmy Hensley, who's substituting for Rick Wilson in the 44 car. 5th row, Bobby Labonte and Todd Bodine. Couple of rookies. 6th row, Morgan Shepherd and Ken Schrader. The 7th row is Rick Mast and Brett Bodine, who will start the car. The 8th row is Jimmy Spencer and Hut Strickland. Dale Jarrett and Derek Cope occupy row number 9. The 10th row is Lake Speed and Ricky Rudd. And then back to the second day qualifiers are those who qualified poorly, Mark Martin and Bill Elliott in row number 11. Kenny Wallace and Michael Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Hillen in row number 13. The 14th row is Harry Gant and Ted Musgrave. Terry Labonte and Jeff Purvis start in 29th and 30th positions. Wally Dallenbach and Dave Marcus in the 16th, and taking provisionals to get into this field, Phil Parsons in 41 and Greg Sachs in number 68.
You know, Mark Martin would have been the 3rd fastest qualifier with his speed if he'd run that speed on Friday.
Let's take a look specifically at this track here at Martinsville, Virginia. First built back in 1947. 0.526 miles in length, 92.5 was the pole speed, 20.453 seconds. We'll go 500 laps, and the field is separated by less than 1/2 of a second. There's Martinsville Speedway with the long straightaways and the sharp turns. And the turns are banked at only 12 degrees, so they're relatively flat. The backstretch here at Martinsville is 800 feet in length. In turns number 3 and 4, the banking there is also at 12 degrees. And onto the front stretch here in front of a packed crowd. The length of the front stretch is also 800 feet.
Now, in 1947, this racetrack didn't have concrete in the corners. As a matter of fact, didn't even have asphalt in the corners, did it, Ned?
No, it was dirt back in those days. Yeah.
Red clay dirt.
Yeah, red clay.
This is Lake Speed driving the number 15 Motorcraft Ford today. He will take over this car, of course, for a full-time season in 1994, but getting an early start here in the late 93 season. Bobby Hillen carries one of our in-car cameras. Actually, this is the roof cam on Bobby's car. As you can see, Michael Waltrip lined up just ahead of him. And then Mark Martin, who has the 21st starting position for this event due to the fact that, as Ned explained, the track was slick when he qualified. And there's the roof cam on Mark Martin's car.
Bob, they're going an extra lap here. They're with traffic coming into the infield. The rain last night, they drug some mud and came across the racetrack, and so you can see the cars going back and forth across. If the lights are still staying on, they might go even another lap. And the indication is that when the lights are on the pace car, that means that they're still going to go at least another lap around the track before we get the green flag. But they're trying to blow that dirt off, work it into the asphalt as much as they can.
You hear about the red Georgia clay. You got red clay in Virginia, too, because it's
And
on
North
the front.
Carolina, exactly right.
There's the front row and the rest of the field going down the backstretch.
And Bob, after qualifying on Saturday, second round qualifying, less than a half a second separates the entire field here today. That's how close they are.
Ricky Rudd was very vocal after the incident that I talked about earlier, the one that eliminated him and Dale Earnhardt. They had a meeting with NASCAR, and then we had an opportunity to talk to Ricky Rudd about that incident.
Well, Jerry, it's just sort of a disappointing day. We had a car that we felt like could win the race. We were just sort of sitting back, waiting for the end of the race to get there. We won that race 3 times, and there's a time to go, and it's usually you wait for the last 125 laps, and then it's time to release everything and let it go. And we got taken out by, a wreck that really shouldn't have ever taken place. And I guess the biggest thing, I made some mistakes last week, and it wasn't in the race car. It was probably when I climbed out of the race car really hot. Microphones got put in my mouth probably at an inopportune time, but no one to blame but myself. I probably blew off a lot of steam on the air that I probably shouldn't have done. I should have controlled myself, and I've always had a temper, but I've been able to control it. But this particular day, I didn't do a good job of it. So I guess, if anything, just like to apologize to the fans if anyone was offended by it. And I'm not real proud of the interview after the wreck, but it happened. There's not anything I do to undo it. But on the same token, I don't want to slap that type of temperament or try to control it in the race car. That's the temperament that's been successful for me in the race car, but I wasn't able to flip that on-off switch quick enough when I got out of the car.
Now, Ned, you're the most laid-back guy I've ever seen in my life. You drove a race car for several years, won 50 times, couple of championships. You ever get hot in a race car?
Well,
I mean, gentleman Ned Jarrett now. Come on.
Now, do you want to hear about the time I threw the helmet to David Pearson? Or what?
Is that where Dale got it?
I know I shouldn't. Oh, that one
sounds
slipped out.
familiar,
Shouldn't have said that one. Uh-oh.
Must run in the family. You know, the interesting thing I heard Ricky say was you've got to maintain that intensity, which sometimes translates into temper when you're in the race car, though.
It's just the competitive edge that they have. And yes, they will say things that sometimes they wish they hadn't said, do things they wish they hadn't done, but that's all a part of competition.
We have 34 starters and 500 laps to go here at Martinsville. We're glad you're with us on this Sunday afternoon as the 93 season begins to wind down, where anything can happen. Who's going to win the championship? This could be a pivotal race here this afternoon. The crowd is on its feet waiting for the green flag, and here it is. We're underway.
Just can't get a grip on the bottom of the racetrack this early, can they, Ned?
Oh, it's still a little bit slippery down there, and maybe some of that mud that was dragged out there is still a little bit gritty.
Battle here's for fourth position, and Darrell Waltrip
Gets banged by Sterling Marlin, and around he goes right in front of several cars. Jimmy Hens has made contact, so has Bobby Labonte.
And several cars back behind them got together as well.
Lake Speed spun, so did Derek Cope. They're pulling away. Waltrip now begins to move his car. Jimmy Hensley in the 44 begins to move away. Bobby Labonte is about the only car that is not pulled away from the incident, but we have a lot of damaged race cars.
Jimmy Hens has got a broken radiator in his car. See, all that smoke coming out of his car, that's water getting on the exhaust pipe. So he's got a long stay in the garage area to have the car repaired before he get back. What a tough break for Hensley and for Darrell Waltrip. John Kernan, what's going on down there?
Bobby Labonte has climbed from the Maxwell House Ford. He's looking around the left front tire. You can see a big puddle of oil leaking out of the oil cooler on the left front. So it looks like they've got a lot of work to do. Bobby immediately shut the engine off. He is now looking as the record crews come over to try and hook it up. And also we understand that Mark Martin has a fender pushed in on the right front.
And Dale Earnhardt is making a pit stop. What is this all
Well,
about?
I think he got hit on the left side. They're jacking it up the left side. They're going to put tires on. How about it, Jerry Punch?
Well, they are changing left side tires here in the Earnhardt crew. He just came down pit road. Almost a surprise to the crew here as they come running around.
Jerry, we thought maybe it was bent on the left side, but you were on that side, so apparently there was no damage to the left side of Earnhardt's car.
We didn't see anything here, Ned, as he came in and out. Apparently there was some concern. Now that we look down, it looks like the wheel may have gotten bumped. So you can't have one vibrating or wobbling here in the pits. Andy Petrie is now talking to Dale Earnhardt as they come around. They'll bring him back in one more time and possibly look at the outside, or yet they may leave him out there. I believe they're going to bring him back in and change right side. Let's check in with John Kernan.
Mark Martin, whose team had to build this car in 5 days after they wrecked their primary car in testing a week and a half ago, pulls away. He had the sheet metal on the right front fender was bent in. You can see where he made contact on the front of the car. The sheet metal was bent in. They pulled it out. But now Steve Millen and the crew have let him hit down pit road. They say everything is okay.
And again, a perfect example of how anything can happen and how point standings can change. Here it is again.
Sterling Marling on the inside of Darrell Waltrip going into the turn. He nudges him just a little bit, gets Darrell out of control. He spins back down into the groove, hits Marlin, and here comes Jimmy Henson in the car 44. Couldn't see because of the smoke. Rams right into Darrell Waltrip. You can see some of the cars getting through. There's Michael Waltrip and Dale Jarrett going through. There's Mark Martin going through. He might have been hit a little bit further back because several cars did get jammed up back behind where the accident was.
And now from Lake Speed's roof cam.
See, I didn't know Lake Speed was spun out over there.
Yeah, he and Greg Sachs went to the grass. Jerry Punch on pit road.
Dale Earnhardt came back in a moment ago. They changed the right side tires. Andy Petrie told me they wanted to make sure there wasn't a tire rubbing early in when you're dealing with a points championship. Can't take any chances. He had a small dent in front of the left rear tire and a small one behind the left rear tire. Otherwise, Earnhardt was unscathed. Not quite the same for the Western Auto Chevrolet of Darrell Waltrip. His car now sits on pit road on the jacks. They are beating and banging the left side of the car quite a bit in front and rear. They have the hood up. Apparently, Waltrip has no brakes as of right now. They're trying to get the brakes fixed. Let's check in on the backstretch with John Kernan.
Jerry, Bobby Labonte, the rookie contender, has had great runs over the last few weeks. He's taken his helmet off. They're pulling the car back on the wrecker. Bobby, the oil cooler busted. Is that about the only damage?
Yeah, the toe wind's out just a little bit, but we'll just try to get it back out there and run the rest of the race. That's about all you can do.
How did it happen? I mean, it was just a big mess, a big pack of cars coming out of turn 2. You really can't, there's nowhere to go, is there?
No, I seen a couple cars spin, and I went to the outside, and, you know, here you just try to go do all you can, and we just barely got the max power forward through the wreck, but, you know, we just got the left front messed up, and we just had to fix it and just go for the rest of the race. All you can do.
Bobby Labonte out of the race for now. They'll work on the car and try and get it back in. Mark Martin, they were going to check the toe in, Bob, just to make sure that's okay. We'll check on that and get back with you.
Anything can happen on a short track. Anything can happen at Martinsville, whether you're racing for the Winston Cup Championship or a better position in the rookie battle. We'll be back with more of our live coverage in a moment. Still under caution here at Martinsville because of a multi-car incident in turn number 1. Started when there was contact between Sterling Marlin and Darrell Waltrip. We're inside Lake Speed's Motorcraft Ford. He was involved. There's Bobby Hillen. He's been in and out of the pits. And John Kernan has a story on the back pits.
Well, Bobby Hillen's been in. They've been trying to fix the brakes on that car. Mark Martin now takes off. They've had a radio problem with Mark. He's been unable to communicate with the team. They think quite possibly the right front tie rod might be bent on Mark's car, but they haven't had a whole lot of time to check it. He'll get in. They don't have hardly enough time to get under and take a look without going down a lap. So we'll have Steve Neal and Jack Roush now talking things over. So we'll have to wait and see if Martin comes back in for another time, as it looks like the cleanup over in turn 2 is going to take a little while longer. So possibly Martin will be able to get that problem fixed. But no, now we're hearing that it is a bent tie rod. That is something that they cannot fix without losing a lap. So we'll have to sit here and wait and see what they're able to do for the number 6 Ford. As Mark does now pull onto pit road, they will go to work on the right side. Steve Neal and Mark Martin will talk things over. Let's go on to the front side of the pits with Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Darrell Waltrip, not a happy camper. The winningest active driver here at Martinsville Speedway with 11 victories to his credit. Thought he was going to have a great shot today. But right now, he's being shown, I believe, 4 laps down. He lost 2 on the original pit stop. Another one he came back in. Apparently, the contact pinched not only an oil line, but broke a brake line. They had to replace the brake line, refill the brake fluid up in the car. They brought him back in and lost an additional lap, which makes it 4 laps, because they had to check the oil lines up front. The oil pressure was fluctuating, so not a good start here for DW, hoping to pick up win number 12 in the Goodies 500.
He was very confident coming into this race that he had the car capable of winning the event, but he's not going to today because the car is damaged and he's 4 laps down.
You know, Bob, John Kernan was talking about Mark Martin just not having much time in the pits. In fact, when he pulls out at the tail end of the line, with these cars spread out the way they are right now, they're taking up about 2/3 of the racetrack. So he really doesn't have much time to get in and do very much to the car. Let's go back to the pits and John.
Ned, the pace car is coming out of turn 2 right now. Mark is up on the jack. It is towed in about ½ an inch on that right front. They let him down. They will have to check and see if they will be able to fix it as Mark goes down pit road. He has not lost a lap yet. And also, getting back to Bobby Hillen, may not have explained exactly what happened to the car. He and Mark, he'd gotten together, and his left front brakes were a problem. They've gotten that fixed, but they are now having a toe-in problem that they have been unable to fix, and we'll check further on that as the work back here in the backstretch pits will continue.
Let's take a look again at the incident that we're referring to, the one that has caused all the damage to all the cars. Waltrip on top of Sterling Marlin here in turn 1.
Sterling goes in the corner. He just can't keep the car on the bottom of the racetrack. It's just a little slippery down there. He goes up, taps Darrell in the left rear, and around both of them go, and now the racetrack's blocked.
And Dale Earnhardt, there he is, going through a very small hole there at the top of the racetrack, and you got to believe that he maybe did suffer some kind of damage.
Now we see two cars, the 40 and the 24, trying to go through. Looked like a hole made for one car, and both of them went through it.
There's the damage to Darrell Waltrip's Western Auto Chevrolet. He's 4 laps down there because of the repairs. We'll be right back. ESPN Speed World at Martinsville, Virginia, the Goodies 500. Clay Earl's beautifully prepared half-mile racetrack that has certainly seen a turn of events here in the early going. You just saw Mark Martin pull out of the pits. He's still on the lead lap, but has been in numerous times because he was one of those cars involved in the multi-car tangle that also involved Bobby Labonte and Darrell Waltrip and
Jimmy Hensley and Lake Speed,
among others.
Among others.
The crowd is once again on its feet as we go back to green on lap number 17. The leader of the race is Jeff Bodine, and he is leading in his own car for the first time this year.
And sponsored by the Family Channel here this afternoon at Martinsville.
Second is Irvin. Rusty Wallace is third. Then Kyle Petty, Todd Bodine, and Brett Bodine. There is Dale Earnhardt, who is near the back of the pack. He is the 6th car from the end of the pack.
Almost a half a lap behind the leader.
So that means he's running about 25th right now.
And you got to think that Rusty Wallace is hoping that he can run hard now and get Earnhardt a lap down here.
Oops, Ernie got a little high coming off turn 4, but Rusty Wallace couldn't take advantage of the situation.
Morgan Shepherd is 7th, then Jimmy Spencer, Hud Strickland, and Rick Mast, as Dale Earnhardt tries to pick up a position on Lake Speed.
This is Insider on top of the Heilig Myers Ford, driven by Bobby Hillen, as he tries to follow Earnhardt up through this pack of cars. That's a good red Chevrolet. Dale Earnhardt right in front of Bobby Hillen.
Tough to pass on this racetrack.
Especially as slick as it is.
Yes. Won't take long, but they'll get a good groove worked in here where they'll be able to get a better bite. Earnhardt looked on the inside there. In fact,
and he goes up the hill, almost spun.
He went in there very hard. Might have tapped Lake Speed just a little bit and caused him to go high on the racetrack.
That gave Bobby Hillen the opportunity, but Hillen has not been able to pick up this position, although now he does as they come out of the second corner. But you can bet Earnhardt is going to be fighting as hard as he can to maintain every position.
And Jerry Cope thought he would follow Dale Earnhardt by Bobby Hillen. That didn't work. He's about to lose the position.
And that is the deficit, the interval between that group of cars and the lead pack being led by Jeff Bodine, the defending champion of this race.
And we can see Ernie Irvin has caught Jeff Bodine.
4 cars running nose to tail on the racetrack. Bodine, Irvin, Wallace, and Petty.
And Todd Bodine right behind this group. There we see Todd Bodine. He qualified 10th.
And is running 5th. Because some of those cars that were in front of him were involved in the accident early in the race.
And now Ernie Irvin bumps Jeff Bodine at the exit of turn 2.
Here comes Rusty.
Our first Napa Field summary showing you where your favorite driver was running last lap around.
Isn't that something, Ed? We got 3 Bodines in the top 6 cars.
That is. That's quite impressive.
Earnhardt back in 25th. Mark Martin in 30th position, and you can see Darrell Waltrip 4 laps down. Jimmy Hensley and Bobby Labonte are having their cars repaired. Now here's our remote-controlled camera camera that is located between turns 3 and 4. The operator is standing behind the wall, but the camera itself is on the track side of the wall, so it should be giving you some pretty good shots of the action between turns 3 and 4.
Tell you what, it's going to be able to give us a real good shot this time. As Ernie goes in the corner, he's got position. Can't quite make it.
Can't quite make it. Jeff gave him some room there.
He tries again. I tell you what, with the rain we've had here last night and this morning, the racetrack is just not quite good enough right now to make those passes coming off the corner.
Well, guys, Dale Earnhardt is still struggling back in the back of the pack and driving his heart out. In fact, right here, look, he gets awfully high coming out of the turn, still behind late speed, hits the wall just a little bit. You can see him move as he comes off of that turn. He's still running. Apparently, no major damage to the car, but he's trying to catch up.
Trying very hard to at least maintain his position.
I tell you, get in a situation, get back in the pack like that, your driving style changes. It has to change. He knows that he can go a lap down here pretty easy, so he wants to get in front of many cars as he possibly can. And as we said, it's tough to pass on this racetrack, so he's driving a little bit differently than he would if he was up front there.
That intensity that Ricky Rudd talked about that he experienced last week certainly is, filling up that GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. But up front, it is still Bodine, Irvin, Wallace, and Kyle Petty. And there is the interval from the leader Bodine back to 25th place Dale Earnhardt. 10.4 seconds. Well, that doesn't sound like very much, but it is a lot of racetrack as a battle for the lead develops, and Ernie Irvin tries to get to the inside of Jeff Bodine in the third and fourth turns. Cannot do it.
I think Irvin has a faster car right now, but passing.
Some more contact here. Ernie goes again. And this time Jeff is trying to run him all the way down in the dirt. Oh, there's no dirt back there. There's nothing but a concrete wall.
Bodine doesn't want to give up the lead, but he does. And Ernie Irvin picks up 5 bonus points for leading here at Martinsville.
Now let's see if he can pull away. We thought his car might be a little bit faster. I believe it is. He's getting off the turns awfully well. The car's hooked up, getting off the turns, and that's where he was beating Jeff a little bit. And see, when he comes off of this turn, he's able to pull away a little bit.
Here it is again. Now watch how they rub and bump and all the way down the backstretch.
Looked like Rusty Wallace thought, say, I'll pass both these guys on the outside, but he got a little bit smarter than that, backed off.
Yep.
And now we see Ernie is pulled away from 5 or 6 car lengths. I guess that's 3 car lengths.
And Rusty looking to the inside of Jeff Bodine. Again, moves to the inside lane. But there will be no opportunity to pass there.
Well, Kyle Petty, he's looking up there too. As Rusty looks on the inside, Kyle was looking on the outside.
Once again, Rusty unable to get position on Bodine, but he may have the position now coming off the corner down the backstretch. It's a race to the third turn, and Rusty wins it. Kyle Petty now trying to take third from Jeff.
These are a little bit cleaner passes than that first one we saw.
Only this is not for the lead. This is for third place.
Yeah.
Not quite as important as that number 1 spot.
That's true.
So it's Irvin, Wallace, Petty, and now Jeff Bodine. And Ernie Irvin has led every race that he has driven the 28 car. He's leading at the moment as we have completed 37 out of 500 laps at Martinsville, Virginia in the Goodies 500. We'll be back in just a moment. Back at Martinsville, Virginia, ESPN Speed World presenting live coverage of the Goodies 500, being led by the 28 Havoline Ford, driven by Ernie Irvin as he comes up to lap some of the slower cars. That, of course, is the 68 machine driven by Greg Sachs. There is second place Rusty Wallace. Third is Kyle Petty. Fourth is Jeff Bodine. Fifth, Todd Bodine. And sixth is Brett Bodine. There they are. Now a good battle here between Morgan Shepherd in the 21 car and Jimmy Spencer in number 12. They've been running very close to each other the last few laps.
They are running in the 7th and 8th positions.
And I tell you what, this group has run down Todd Bodine and Brett Bodine. They were by themselves out there just a few laps ago, but Todd started to fall back in the grips of Brett and Morgan, Jimmy Spencer.
And Remember, as Jerry told you, Brett is driving with a cast on his wrist.
Doesn't look like a cast, but it is.
Yeah.
Looks like something that you make spacewalks with or something.
Or an erector set.
Yeah, he says they don't call it a cast. It's something else. But
Yeah.
it's a unique situation, that's for sure. Very impressive. Fascinating to hear about.
Yeah, much more sophisticated than just a regular cast.
And we'd need Dr. Punch to explain all of this anyway.
Certainly would. Here is Dale Earnhardt. He got himself out of traffic. He's been able to get around Lake Speed and Sterling Marlin, and so now he has a little bit of racetrack. Ahead of him is Ted Musgrave. And speaking of Dr. Jerry Punch, here he is.
Gentlemen, I just spoke with Richard Childers, Dale Earnhardt's car owner, a moment ago. Apparently, Dale, a couple laps back, smacked the wall in turn 4 coming out of the turn and has pushed the rear end housing over toward the left. So Dale has backed out a little bit. He's about 0.3 of a second off the pace. They're going to bide their time, hope to get a caution flag and bring him down pit road and check and see exactly how severely the rear has been damaged. Dale figures that it's pushed the rear end housing over, so he is not up to full speed as far as trying to make his way to the front in a hurry.
But you know, the interval between Earnhardt and the leader, Ernie Irvin, is now less than a straightaway. And a little contact there between Jimmy Spencer and Todd Bodine as Jimmy comes forward.
As he and Morgan Shepard both have been able to get by Todd. Brett got by him a few laps ago. Now Hud Strickland's going to give it a try in McDonald's Ford.
There's Morgan Shepard, 5th place in the point standings. There once again is our remote control camera working in turns 3 and 4.
Bobby Hill and Dave Marcus have both gone a lap down.
There are Bodine and Hud Strickland and Rick Mast.
Bobby Labonte about to come back out onto the track from the backstretch over there. Make repairs on the Maxwell House Ford. Because he's going to be about 50 laps down.
And there we see the Tide Chevrolet of Ricky Rudd. Believe it or not, that is the first Chevrolet in the running order.
Oh, Bodine a little sideways coming out of the corner. And here's Mast trying to work to the inside of Hutt.
And Hutt trying to work to the inside of Todd.
Oh, Dale Jarrett and Ken Schrader got together off of turn 4. Jarrett was able to get him back in, but he almost bought the farm there.
Now he and Bill Elliott race together as Jeff Gordon watches from behind. And that's Harry Gant, 4th car there.
Elliott's not able to make that high groove work. Dale Jarrett takes his spot away. Now here comes Jeff Gordon.
Gordon inside of Elliott. Look at him working that wheel. Sawing at it.
Yeah, it's still slick out there. They're still doing some sliding as they try to accelerate off these tight turns.
Gordon, of course, the leader in rookie points. Here he is. Looked like Bill left the door open there for him, but Jeff just cannot take away the spot because Elliott has good straightaway speed.
Talked to Ray Everham, the crew chief on the DuPont Chevrolet this morning, and he said they still don't quite have the handle on these short racetracks for Jeff Gordon. Still don't have the feel that Jeff's looking for. He said, but we've got a long time to find that feel. Jeff is only 22 years old.
Here is the leader, Ernie Irvin, and look who he is about to lap. That's Mark Martin.
Yeah, you know Mark's car is not totally up to par here today, although he was far back when the green flag dropped again, but he just hasn't been able to get going. It was high, lets Ernie move down to the inside, so Mark Martin goes a lap down.
Wow, did you see how easy Ernie did that? Now Mark might have let him look that easy, but
yeah, I don't think he fought him too much. Mark Martin is, I've talked to a lot of drivers, and they say he is one of the nicest guys out there when he comes. If somebody comes up to lap him, if they're faster than him, he'll let them go. He'll race your heart out, but still, he's fair.
John Kernan, tell us about the problems that Mark Martin is having.
Well, Bob, we told you earlier the car towed in about half an inch. They worked and worked, just didn't have the time to correct it. I just talked with Steve Neal just a few moments ago. He said the car is handling really badly. Mark's having a hard time driving it. It's still towed in probably about a quarter of an inch. They're just guessing on that because they were unable. We went back to green. They were unable to check it with the string. But Benny or Ned, my question to you, what's it like driving at a tight racetrack like this when you're towed in about a quarter of an inch?
Well, you have no idea which way it's going to go. You turn the steering wheel, it may go left, it may go straight. It's always a surprise. You know, it looks like a surprise to these fans when Mark Martin has a problem. Believe me, no one in the world is more surprised than Mark Martin when the car does the things it's going to do. It'll turn left, it'll turn right. Sometimes it goes, sometimes it's perfect, but you never know which car is going to rear its head when you get in the corner.
As you can see, Irvin has also put a lap on Lake Speed in the Motorcraft car. Now we watch from inside, riding along with Lake. And here is Spencer continuing his movement to the front of the field as he passes Brett Bodine. And that is what, fifth? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, he's on the move.
A little bit of contact here coming off the fourth corner.
He starts by on the outside, and Brett, they rub just a little bit. Spencer goes to the inside, and Brett Bodine already got one broken wrist. He doesn't need to contest that move too much.
Ernie Irvin, the leader, is coming up on some heavy traffic now. Greg Sachs and Sterling Marlin and Ted Musgrave are ahead of him as we take a look again at a Napa field summary.
Greg Sachs is already 1 lap down. This will make him 2 laps down in the country time entry.
Jeff Purvis in the 4 car has moved into the top 20. Earnhardt in 22nd. They're the cars that are a lap down.
Dale Earnhardt is not far from being a lap down, fellas. We'll watch that as Ernie Irvin comes up on there. You see Earnhardt in the black car. 2 cars between him. Sterling Marlin will be the next car to go a lap down.
And then Ted Musgrave and then Earnhardt.
And I tell you what, there is a gaggle of cars between those two. I mean, in front of those two, look at all those cars.
Earnhardt is working on Darrell Waltrip, although again, Waltrip is 4 laps down because of repairs to his car in the early incident. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Martinsville, where the leader, Ernie Irvin, in car number 28, threads his way through traffic, and he's having somewhat difficulty in doing so, and that's really helping Dale Earnhardt stay on the lead lap.
Yeah, these cars, as he gets up here, are tougher to pass, Bob.
There is Earnhardt running behind Jeff Gordon. And we take a look at an interval leaderboard showing you that Rusty Wallace is in second, 1.8 seconds behind Ernie. Kyle Petty is third, 3.29 seconds behind. Then Jeff Bodine, 8.79, and Jimmy Spencer, 9.06. And Spencer is the car on the move.
Yep, he has moved up to 4th place and passed Jeff Bodine a little while back.
Started 15th.
Yep, he's just moving right on up through there. That car working well for him.
And worked his way up to 5th. Pretty impressive with the Meineke muffler driver, Jimmy Spencer. Of course, he came down around the modifieds for many, many years here, so he
knows the track.
A lot of experience at this racetrack.
What are his plans for 94? Anybody saying? Is he saying?
As far as I know, he's going to drive the 12 car.
Is
he had announced in Talladega back in July that he would stay with them again. There's been a lot of speculation that he might go with Junior Johnson, but Junior Strickland is the driver for Junior Johnson in the McDonald's Ford, so I don't know.
There's Phil Parsons, the Mannheim Auto Auctions.
Okay, the race for the lap to put Earnhardt a lap down as we look at Phil Parsons there.
Here it is.
There he is, Earnhardt trying to get by Jeff Gordon, makes some contact. Gordon goes up the racetrack, lets Earnhardt have it. Now he's going to have to let Ernie go.
Veteran against rookie here, as Jeff Gordon, of course, is a rookie in the series, and the old veteran, and some call him the Intimidator, Earnhardt. Ernie Irvin got by Gordon also, but Earnhardt remains on the lead lap for the moment.
Now then, can he get by? Can he get by Earnhardt? He's faster.
he's been given the move-over flag by the NASCAR officials. There's Todd Bodine, who was running up in 5th place not long ago. Boy, his car has gone away, the Factory Stores of America Ford, and he has dropped back and now back to go left down.
Now, Irvin is going to go to the outside here. Nope, comes back down to the inside.
Well, when Todd Bodine went high to let Earnhardt get underneath him, Ernie figured that was the best way to go. Jimmy Hensley's back in the STP Pontiac, but he's 73 laps down.
Earnhardt really needs to save this lap if he can.
He's trying hard.
He's trying his best, is right.
But I'll tell you, that Hamlin Ford is running today. And Ernie Irvin doing a great job of driving.
And John Kernan asked the question, what does it feel? Oh, here goes Ernie on the inside. Takes a look.
Nope.
But Earnhardt moves over, tries to block him. Ernie will try it on the outside now. Earnhardt moves up to block down. A little contact.
Boy, Irvin is just going high, low, middle, anywhere to try to put Earnhardt a lap down. He's on the outside down the backstretch. Now I think he's going to get him, isn't he?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think Earnhardt decided he'd give him that outside groove, but Earnhardt's going to race him hard for it. But he says, okay, you got the racing room up there, go for it. It's not too easy up there.
No, it's not easy. Particularly when that guy on the inside is trying as hard as he can.
The crowd is on its feet, and they are yelling and cheering and making gestures and everything.
Some wanted to go a lap down, some of them didn't. I mean, you know, it depends on.
And Ernie makes the pass.
He did it. Dale Earnhardt is a lap down.
And he is being shown in the 19th position. So there are 18 cars still on the lead lap. While all this was going on, Rusty Wallace closed the gap a little bit on Ernie Irvin.
Yep.
But now he's still got problems because he has traffic. See, he's got
some of those same cars to
Jeff
pass.
Gordon and Todd Bodine running side by side. So look, he said, what am I going to do? Hey guys, come on guys, move. Move.
Well,
okay, finally they did.
He's going to get Todd. There's Lake Speed's roof cam again. That's Kyle Petty.
He's a third place car going by Lake.
Here is Brett Bodine passing Jeff Bodine for 5th place, or trying to. Brett on the inside, Jeff on the outside.
And Rick Mast right behind that group, and Morgan Shepherd and Jeff get together a little bit.
Had a big tire mark on that 7 car.
Wonder where that came from.
Yeah.
That says 28 on it, remember? Dave Marcus' car. By the way, he's got a sponsor today. I've got his card here someplace. Phil McBrayer, CPA.
Oh, good. So Dave Marcus, good.
He sponsored Dave Marcus today. He said he was in National Guard with Dave about 20 years ago, and he heard that he needed some help, so he gave him a call and worked it out. So, Phil, I saw he and his daughter this morning down in the garage here. They were tickled to death. So,
the guys, you were talking about where did that mark come from? Well, we'll show you here in just a second where that mark came from. We was talking about on the 7 car.
Oh, yeah.
There, that's the other side.
If those tires were white, Ernie Irvin's car would be white down that side, right?
Ernie coming up to lap the car that he used to drive is now being driven by Jeff Purvis, the Morgan McClure Kodak Film number 4.
Jeff Purvis is in 18th position at the moment.
And again, a lot of traffic ahead of Ernie as Bill Elliott is up there, so is Ken Schrader and Harry Gant. 88 out of 500 laps have been completed. It is Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, Kyle Petty, Jimmy Spencer, and Brett Bodine, the top 5. The interval leaderboard, there is a 10.38 second interval among the first 5 cars, and Rusty Wallace is still only about 2 seconds behind Ernie Irvin.
Look at that Jimmy Spencer. He's only 6 seconds behind, and he started 15th. So he's got an awfully good race car so far.
Ken Schrader goes a lap down. Ernie Irvin has lapped since we were in break. Bill Elliott and Jeff Purvis.
This is looking back, 16th. Looking back from Bobby Hillens, Heilig Meyer's car.
There's Marlin and Rusty Wallace.
There's the guy that's going to talk to Eli Gold on the shop talk. By the way, that's Greg Sachs. Who's going to drive the Williams car? Prost is going to time.
Well, it looks like that Senna is going to go to Williams next.
Move over from the McLaren?
Yeah, that'll be a hot combination, or you would think so.
Wow. Rusty's got his work cut up on right now. We're looking on top of Bobby Hill's car at Kyle Petty as he tries to chase it down. Look at that. Rick Masters taking over 5th spot in the Skoal Classic Ford.
Mast with a good run, and John Kernan has more.
Hey, you know how a lot of these race car drivers, Mark Martin and these guys and these crews are doing all these high-tech workouts and to get into shape and to get into better shape? Over the last couple of months, I've noticed Rick has lost a lot of weight. He's getting into a lot better shape. You know how he's doing it? The good old-fashioned country boy way. Up there at Rockbridge, Bass, Virginia, he's moving around a lot of rock, doing a lot of landscaping. He's out there with a post hole digger, putting it into the ground, building a fence around his new house. And you know what's best of all? He invited me to come up there and get in shape with him. And Benny, he said you could come along too.
I don't think I got something I got to do this week and next week, John. So check with me, Wilkesboro, will you?
I thought you were going to say the old-fashioned way that he's losing weight is by going on a, vegetables-only diet or something. They don't do that down here, do they?
No, not down south. We don't.
Rick Mast started the race in 13th. On the 20th lap, he was 9th. Fell back to 10th by the 45th lap, but then moved up to 8th and now is 5th at the 100-lap mark. That's Wally Donneback Jr. running right ahead of him. Now Rusty has passed that group of cars, but Kyle Petty has not been able to.
And look right behind Kyle Petty. Let's see if we,
There's Spencer.
Jimmy Spencer has called Kyle Petty.
And he may pass him here.
He's trying. He's on the outside of him. Kyle.
He has been knocking the interval down. We timed laps 92 through 96.
Ooh.
And the interval went from a 6.1 seconds down to a 4.4. The interval between Ernie Irvan, the leader, and Jimmy Spencer.
Never seen Spencer on the inside of Sterling Marlin. And look here, he dives on the inside of Kyle Petty.
He's got him.
He takes 3rd place away.
Oh, that car is hooked up, and he is driving his heart out with it.
There is the leader on the backstretch.
Coming up on Dale Jarrett to put a lap on him. Jarrett currently being shown into 14th position. So Ernie Irvan, boy, he is picking them off.
We had that one caution earlier in the race that has affected so many cars, but since then we have been green, and that has allowed a lot of changes in terms of cars being lapped. And Jarrett is about to go a lap down to Ernie Irvan.
That one caution flag it caused problems for so many cars.
Yep.
Darrell Walker, Martin Martin, Dale Earnhardt, Blake Speed, the 22 car, Sterling Marlin. Ernie's trying.
Yeah, he's still trying to get around Dale. There's Lake Speed. And let's go inside the car and see a foot cam. We've located this in kind of an interesting position. We're looking down on his feet.
You can see he brakes with his left foot. Now he's off the brakes, back on the gas. And we can see some air between the brake pedal and his toe. Pumps that brakes and hits the brakes awfully hard. Back on the,
I don't know that we've ever had that angle before. That's good.
pumps the brakes once again. And you can see just how long he's on the brake pedal, getting the car slowed down.
Turns 3 and 4 now off the accelerator. As he comes off the corner, he nails the accelerator, but he's not on it very long before he backs off and pumps the brakes again.
111 miles per hour down to 60 miles per hour was the lowest one I saw. 60 miles an hour.
And up to 109 before the break.
That's as he slows down, 60 miles an hour in that corner.
So you're talking about 50 miles an hour gained and lost in just a matter of feet. You do that twice a lap.
Twice a lap.
For 500 laps.
And we saw 8,400 RPMs that time.
Well, things have kind of settled down here, so we'll take the opportunity to take another break. As 112, the 500 laps have been completed. It's still Ernie Irvan leading Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Kyle Petty, and Rick Mast. Caution, Morgan Shepherd spun off of turn 4. That has brought the action onto pit road. There's our triple split, and watch the clocks for each car. Irvin's on the top, Wallace is in the middle. Jimmy Spencer completes his round at 20.4 seconds. Rusty is out at 20.7 seconds, and Ernie Irvan takes 23.7 and loses the lead to Rusty Wallace. There are the 3 pit times. Irvan 23.7, Wallace 27, and Spencer 20.4.
Very good pit stop for the Bobby Allison Motorsports team of Jimmy Spencer.
Jerry Punch, summarize the pit update for us, if you will.
Apparently a little bit of a problem here in the 28 pit. The radio's malfunctioned. Joey Knuckles, who changes the front tire, his radio went out, and they were having trouble communicating among the crew members. So they were working here at the 28 pit, and Dale Earnhardt has come in for his pit service. Remember, he had a problem with damage as he goes down pit road. Right behind him is Sterling Marlin. Let's check in on the back pits with John Curtis.
Jerry, 4 tire changes all the way around here on the backstretch pits. Michael Waltrip in the Pennzoil Pontiac was the first one in, first one out, followed by Ricky Rudd, Kenny Wallace, Terry Labonte. Also getting fast work here on pit road. Pretty good pit stop. And I've got an update for you on Mark Martin. Mark has not been feeling too well today. He had asked his crew just a little while ago to try and find a relief driver. They have checked with Dick Trickle to see if he would be available, but he has already committed to relief driver for the 26 car. So Mark Martin's crew still looking to try and find someone to possibly get in the car if Mark cannot continue.
The reason we are under caution is because Morgan Shepherd spun coming off of corner number 4, and this is how it happened.
He's on the inside of Todd Bodine in the 75 car, Factory Stores America, and Todd Bodine gets a little bit car out of shape, and Morgan jerked his car away from Todd, trying to keep him hit him and spun out.
And I think that Strickland might have got into the back of Morgan's car just a little bit there.
I think so.
We'll watch it again here. So it's down on the inside. That's Todd Bodine on the outside. And here you see the 27 car. He does come up and tap Morgan Shepherd and spins him on around. That's Hut Strickland in the McDonald's Ford.
Good call, Ned.
Jerry Punch has the right front that was taken off of Irvin's car.
Take a look at what happens when you pass on a short track. Remember we showed you some marks on the side of Jeff Bodine's Family Channel car? Well, this is the right front tire off the Ernie Irvan Haviland Ford. You see the fender was rubbing the tire. The Eagle is almost gone. So is the Goodyear almost gone off of the outside of this radial tire. And that's why the extra 5.5 or 6 seconds in the pits. Joey Knuckles and the crew were trying to pull the fender away. You don't want this tire to rub all afternoon. It could get a little serious when you get into corners late in the day.
Well, he did lose the lead to Rusty Wallace, and that means Rusty has picked up some very valuable bonus points, 5 as a matter of fact, for leading this race. The caution was a big break for Terry Labonte and Kenny Wallace. They were about to go a lap down, but now remain on the lead lap. Looking back on the field from the Pontiac pace car, we're still under caution. They're cleaning up the track a little bit before we go back to green flag conditions, so we'll take another break. You're watching live the Goodies 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race from Martinsville. We're less than a lap from the restart of the Goodies 500, I should say, from Martinsville. Should be an interesting restart because Dale Earnhardt is going to have the inside position, and Rusty Wallace is going to be to the outside. Of course, the cars lapped are to the inside, and those on the lead lap led by Rusty on the outside. It's Irvan second, followed by Jimmy Spencer, then Kyle Petty and Rick Mast.
And there are 12 cars on the lead lap, so that means Earnhardt is in 13th position.
The green comes out on lap 112 as the big crowd looks on. They added 1,500 seats here since the spring, and every one of them are occupied. And look at the jump that Rusty got.
That's the kind we used to see Earnhardt get.
Terrific jump on Earnhardt. So if Earnhardt can go, if he can catch Rusty Wallace, he can get his lap back, but I don't know.
Sterling Marlin's car got off to a slow start on the restart. I don't know if he has a problem. He moved down to the inside. Now really having trouble getting off the turns if he has a broken axle or something.
I'll tell you another car that's got off to a terrible start is Ernie Irvin in the Howland Ford.
He's about to lose second to Spencer, isn't he?
And he's just not going like he did at the beginning.
They put a different set of tires on it. Sometimes it just don't go as good.
And maybe it takes a few laps to get that number 28 car up to speed, but
Martin is involved in a lot of traffic here, moving to the outside of Lake Speed. Look how close they race at 60 up to 110 miles an hour.
he's right behind the Kellogg's Cornflakes Chevrolet of Terry Labonte. Oh, and he and Jeff Purvis almost get together, going down in the corner. But John Curtis told us on the break that Labonte had got his grill packed with rubber was overheating, so.
And he also said that Mark Martin's toe-in problem has been corrected, so that car should handle a lot better. Now, here's an interesting statistic regarding the pit stop. Before the pit, Ernie Irvin was running 87.67. After the pit stop, he's running almost a mile an hour slower than that, and you would think it was just the opposite because the newer tires should allow him to go faster. That's 3 laps after the pit stop.
Well, you're right. You would think that they would run faster. The rain here yesterday, they didn't get an opportunity to scuff in tires. Now, brand new tires is not the fastest way to go here the first few laps. After they run a few laps on them, they work okay. But what they like to do is run them 3 or 4 laps, let them cool off overnight, then put them on. That's when they're at their best. They didn't get an opportunity to do that because their last practice was rained out yesterday afternoon.
Good battle for third. Kyle Petty trying to take it away from Spencer, and does.
So Jimmy Spencer not able to run as well in that Meineke Ford as he did before the caution flag. Well, he may be running as well as, but versus the competition.
Kyle Petty now to third, having started 5th.
When you talk to the guys down in the pits this morning and say who's the fastest car, Kyle Petty's name kept coming up. Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip, who was in that first or second lap crash over in turn 2.
Kyle was awfully fast in practice on Friday afternoon. He was one of those early qualifiers. In fact, everybody had not exactly conceded the pole to him, but they knew that he was the man to beat. But he, of course, had to qualify early, as we talked about in the practice slick, so he didn't get off to a very good start there, but the car is fast now.
Kyle has never won at Martinsville. His dad did.
And his granddad didn't he?
Yep. And a spin in turn 4.
That's Todd Bodine going the wrong way.
He's backing down the racetrack.
Caution is out.
Looks like he got in reverse.
Yeah, he put it in reverse. He's going to try to save a lap, but Rusty Wallace is going to beat him back to the line here.
Because Rusty was racing as hard as he could to keep Earnhardt a lap down.
That's our third caution of the afternoon. It comes on lap 137. Todd Bodine spinning off of corner 4.
What do you think, Ned? Will he stop?
I wouldn't think so, for the very reason we talked about there a moment ago. It takes a while to get those tires seated in. This might be the opportunity that they were looking for to let those tires cool back a little bit. Now, if you had a major problem, or if you're back near the back of the pack or something like that, maybe you do. But I doubt if we'll see many of them stop. Rusty Wallace is not.
He chooses not to. So most of the cars are staying out.
Yep.
At least those here on the front pits. Nobody coming in during the third caution. So we'll take another break and be back live with more coverage at the Goodies 500. The reason for the caution is a spin involving Todd. Now watch at the top of your screen. It's kind of hard to see. Watch at the top here from our speed shot. There you can see he's sideways in the middle of the corner and then drives backward out of the corner down the straightaway until the traffic clears, and then he gets it going in the right direction. The green is out on lap 141. Rusty, then Ernie, Kyle, Jimmy, and Rick.
And boy, Rusty got off to a great start once again. He did it the other time, jumped Earnhardt on the start, got himself free of lap traffic.
And another spin, as you saw from the shot. That's Jeff Purvis in the 4-car who's sideways and stopped. No caution at the moment. There's no traffic coming. And so Jeff is able to drive away, and we save a caution.
Now then, Ned, if new tires were the problem the last time, Ernie Irvan ought to be okay because he scuffed the tires. He got 7 or 8 good laps. He was able to cool the tires, and now he should be able to keep up with Rusty. And looks like he's doing a better job of keeping up than he did the last time.
The car looks like it's hooked up better than it was there before. I think that was the situation, and he is staying closer to them than he did before.
It's just about 2 o'clock Eastern Time. We welcome you, for those of you just joining us, to live coverage of the Goodies 500 from Martinsville. The leader is Rusty Wallace, then Ernie Irvan. The third car in line here is the black number 3 of Dale Earnhardt. He is a lap down.
Bob, that's a nice looking watch. Do you really like Sports Illustrated?
You have been waiting all year to get that line in, haven't you? And I gave you the opportunity.
Open the door. Walked in. Here's Kyle Petty moving by Earnhardt on the outside. Earnhardt moves up out of the way.
Back in the pack a little further.
Whoa!
We have some major scrambling.
Scrambling back there between the 6 car, the 16 car, and the 27. They look like they were dirt track racing back there. And the old slide job.
Now, Hut Strickland, the 27 car, is one of those on the lead lap. He is currently being shown in the 8th position.
And so is Kenny Wallace there in the 40.
Yeah, right. And Ricky Rudd's in the lead lap as well. Boy, they got caught back in some heavy traffic. There are a lot of cars that are 1 lap down. There must be about 12 or 14 cars that are 1 lap down.
And Martin, we can see they fixed the toe-in problem, but the car is just not able to go the way it normally goes because he's moving over, letting these guys go. Look at that, Ned. You are dead on because now Ernie Irvan's speed, he's picked it up from, 86 miles an hour to now 90 miles per hour.
Closing in, too.
Yeah, closing in on Rusty. By the way, the qualifying speed of Irvan was 92.5 miles an hour, so you can see the difference between race speed and qualifying speed.
They normally don't, they have to use the brakes in racing every lap, but you don't use them as hard as you do in qualifying. So you can pick up a half a second or so a lap by really standing on those brakes.
Here's another Napa field summary. You can watch and see where your favorite driver is running. Kenny Wallace back in 9th spot.
And you can see there are 12 cars on the lead lap.
All these cars, as Ned said, a lap down.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them all back through 20.
Another page.
Yeah, and half of the next page there, or at least 2 out of the 5. Purvis is about to go the 2nd lap down, though. He came out on the spun up there, came right out in front of Rusty Wallace.
And all cars are running, I believe, aren't they? Because Labonte and Hensley there, who are 73 and 80 laps behind, are both still out there after long repairs in the pits. Good battle up front as Ernie Irvan is right on Rusty's back bumper.
You see that 28 car as he goes in the corner and he hits the brakes. When he goes down in turn 1, you can see just how close the front fender, front air dam, or front skirt goes to the racetrack. Beginning at Charlotte, that will change because right now the height on those things are 3.5 inches. They'll be 5.5 inches. See, watch that thing, just how close it is to the ground.
21 car, Morgan Shepherd, going very slow. Now he's back up to speed. He had slowed almost to a crawl as he came off of turn 2, but he's back up to speed now. I don't know if he's coming back in the pit. No, he's staying out there, so I don't know what went wrong, but he was really, really slow. The sit go forward. Morgan Shepherd.
And here the brothers Bodine running together again, as they have been for several laps this afternoon. Brett in the 26 and Jeff in the 7.
That's for 6th and 7th.
Jeff won his first Winston Cup race here at Martinsville in April of 1984, and he is the only driver to win here in 3 different NASCAR divisions. That is Winston Cup, Busch, and the Modified Series.
Kenny Schrader about to catch this group. Is Schrader a lap down?
Yeah, he is. He had gone a lap down there early there.
set for next year. Set to return with Kenny Bernstein, and of course Jeff has bought this team and will run it next year. Now, the 21 car of Morgan Shepherd slowed a while ago. Jerry, what was the problem?
Well, as Ned said, the car almost came to a stop coming off turn 2, then picked right back up. And Ned, that's exactly what happened. Morgan said the car shut off on him. He reached up and switched to the backup ignition. The car refired, and he went back down the back straightaway. Apparently, when he was spun or came into contact up there with Todd Bodine earlier, it not only affected the tow in on the car, but had a problem with some of the ignition wiring. So they've had to go to the backup ignition. The car is running quite well right now.
Unfortunately, it's been a movement to the back for Morgan Shepherd. He started 11th, was up to 7th at the 60-lap mark, then 8th, spun, went to 17th, now has dropped back to 26th.
And he is 1 lap down, not too far from being 2 laps down, but he's about a straightaway in front of Rusty Wallace.
And although he has a rather comfortable advantage on the 6th person in the points, Morgan wants to very much finish in the top 5 of points, and Rusty Wallace a little loose coming out of the corner.
I tell you what, Ernie Irvin is just very, very impressive this evening in that Havoline Ford.
That car is hooked up.
Wallace won here in the spring and led 409 laps of that event.
Ernie, the fact that he is in 2nd place chasing Rusty down, he can kind of run whatever groove he wants to. See how much wider he goes in the corner. Rusty has to go in low to defend his position and use a little bit more brakes than Ernie is using.
Rusty continues to lead, and now he has led 44 of the first 160 laps here at Martinsville. It's Irvin, Petty, Spencer, and the rest of the top 10. We'll be right back. Back at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the Goody's 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race on ESPN Speed World. There are 1st and 2nd. Rusty Wallace closely pursued by Ernie Irvin.
Looks like he was trying to move down as if he was going to get in the outside groove he wanted to take in. I don't know.
Yes, he's got that outside groove if he wants to take advantage of it, but he's just not able to get around on the outside well enough to pass Rusty. This time, Rusty kind of drifted up in front of that outside groove.
Rusty has had a very impressive record in the past 9 short track races. Listen to these finishes.
Oh, now watch this.
Uh-oh, he just lost the lead, though.
What were you saying, Bob?
Well, he has 5 wins, 3 seconds, and a 4th in the last 9 races. Not bad.
Whale of a record.
Irvin has the lead.
He just, Rusty got a little high coming off of turn 2, and Ernie was right there to take advantage of the opening.
I think that Rusty Wallace saw that Ernie now at this point of the race was faster than he, and there's no point in taking the chance, making contact, and both of them spinning out. It's early. Let him go. That car, the 2 car, is good enough. It's going to be in the lead lap unless he has mechanical problems at the end. Then's the time to race. Not right now. I think that was great thinking on Rusty's part.
Especially with Rusty knowing that Earnhardt is a lap down, and then he can gain some valuable points if he takes it easy.
Yeah, and Ernie is not in the points race at this point.
Here's a battle for 8th position as Ricky Rudd goes to the inside of Hut Strickland.
And we see Kenny Wallace right behind this group of cars. That's for position.
Battle for 8th. Rudd has it.
Takes it over.
Hut is 9th, and Kenny Wallace is running 10th. Good run for Kenny.
Felix told me that Kenny Wallace was running very well today. As a matter of fact, Felix said to say, happy birthday to his wife, Carolyn.
How old is she?
Carolyn?
She's 40 few, Felix said. Happy birthday, Carolyn.
We're going to show you the top 5 in points and where they are currently running in the race. Earnhardt, the points leader, is 13th. Rusty Wallace, 2nd in points, 2nd in the race. Mark Martin is 19th, Dale Jarrett 14th, and Morgan Shepherd 26th.
So Rusty Wallace really doesn't need to race with any of those guys. Points,
if they were awarded now.
Right now, so only 130 points behind would be Rusty Wallace, a gain of 50 points, 51 points.
But we got 327 laps to go.
Right.
Man, come on, quit throwing water on this.
Long way to go.
I was getting all excited and over there threw the water right over it.
Well, sometimes you just have to face up to reality.
Right.
That's true.
Now here's Kenny trying to get to the inside of Strickland. Kenny Wallace having one of his best races. He can pass some of the cars that normally he can.
That's for ninth position. He's taking over.
Got it.
Yep.
Good
Now
job,
Bill
Kenny.
Elliott comes down on the inside of Hut Strickland. And Bill's a lap down.
Yeah.
Bill's in 16th position. Harry Kent right behind him. He's in 17th. And the 24 car of Jeff Gordon is also a lap down. Ooh, he got a little bit loose there.
Strickland's hung on that outside line and getting past. Comes Jeff Gordon through and Terry Labonte. There is Jimmy Spencer, and now he's closed up on Kyle Petty.
Yeah, he had dropped back, Bob. In fact, Dale Jarrett had passed him. Now he has passed Dale Jarrett and has run down Earnhardt and Kyle Petty. That car apparently is a little bit tight. Longer he runs, the better it gets. And he didn't fall that far behind the leader, so he might be a threat to get up there and take the lead. He's certainly going to be a threat to Kyle Petty here in a little bit for third place.
Yeah, if Kyle looks in his mirror right now, he's going to be a serious threat. It's strange how some cars are that way. They run really good on long green flag runs, and some cars really good on the short runs.
Now behind Jimmy, there's a battle for position, and not on the lead lap, but Dale Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett are battling for 13th. As they pass Jimmy Hensley. And remember, Dale Jarrett is certainly not out of the Winston Cup points battle yet.
So if he can pass Earnhardt, that's 3 points he would gain on Dale. And that's 3 more points that Rusty Wallace would gain on Earnhardt.
Kyle Petty moves to the inside. Jimmy Spencer goes by on the outside. I think Kyle just moved over and said, go ahead. Looks like you're going faster.
I think that's exactly right.
Well, I don't know. Kyle staying down on the inside now. Earnhardt's going to move up there on the outside of it. Does he have a problem? Well, I don't know. We'll have to check that out.
If he does have a problem, I would say it'd be brakes, wouldn't you?
That's certainly a good guess. Well, this racetrack does take its toll. Normally it's a little bit later in the race before they start having brake problems, but I don't know. By the way, Rick Mast is running fifth. He's coming up on Kyle Petty, not too far behind him right now. Rick can drop back. I think he's another one of those that has a tight race car. As we watch Earnhardt still trying to pass Kyle on the outside, and finally makes the pass. Kyle is not battling any of those guys, just letting them go for whatever the reason.
Not too far behind Kyle Petty now is Rick Mast, who is also on the lead lap. Hut Strickland, we mentioned a while ago, was hung on the outside line and getting past. I think it maybe was a little more than that.
No, he's got a problem. He's slowed to the inside of the racetrack there right now. The McDonald's Ford is definitely off the pace.
But he could have run into the back of somebody and done some damage to the front end of that car. But on the other hand, I don't know.
Well, he ran in the back of Morgan Shepherd. Remember when that Morgan that he tapped and spun? So that's when he made the damage to the front of the car.
Yeah, I don't think that's the reason for him slowing down right now. There's something else wrong with that Ford. He is really getting slow here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, he's almost.
I think the car stopped. I think it has stopped. And he's not going to make it back.
I don't believe he is either.
He's got to go to the back side.
Is he pitting on the back?
No.
Nope, that's right.
He's pitting on the front stretch.
Yep.
And he'll not make it to the front. Now, he could cut into the back here, but he's not going to do it. He's going to stay out there, coast around. I don't think
he's going to stop what he's going to do.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to make it.
He qualified 16th, just barely made the front stretch.
Maybe he can cut through at the end of this pit wall back there, Ned.
Yeah.
If he turns left, he can probably go down that road between the two.
Yep,
He's coming in.
Yep. Got out of the way, no caution.
Pace car gets out of his way as he comes down that stretch.
Morgan
road.
Shepherd would like to have seen him throw the caution because he's about to go another lap down.
Ernie Irvin a little bit loose coming off the fourth corner, but he maintains the lead over Rusty Wallace. Running in third position right now is Jimmy Spencer.
Fourth is
Rick Mast, and then fifth is Kyle Petty. The average speed of the race is 72.4 miles an hour. Back in just a moment as the blimp is on the way. Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. The Goodies 500. Couple of rookies are running, well, they were running side by side. Jeff Gordon passes Kenny Wallace. Now Kenny is on the lead lap and Jeff is a lap down, so that isn't a battle for position. And there's Bobby Labonte, the third rookie contender.
Kenny Wallace was running a little bit better than this. Right now his car went away a little bit. He drifted back. As a matter of fact, he and the 14 car of Terry Labonte made some contact the couple of laps ago coming off turn 4, and Kenny did a great job to keep from spinning out.
Speaking of rookie points, here they are. Jeff Gordon leads by 51 over Labonte. Kenny Wallace is third, and P.J. Jones also has signed up for the rookie program, but runs limited events, and he has only 62 points. So Jeff Gordon appears to be on his way to the Rookie of the Year title for 1993. Not unexpectedly, but yet this has been a very, very good year for rookies.
And there's our leader, Ernie Irvin, still getting the job done in that Haviland Star Ford Thunderbird.
Passing Sterling Marlin, who was involved in that early incident, but also took out, well, didn't take out, but involved Darrell Waltrip and others.
Sterling is running in 19th place. He just went 2 laps down.
Ernie Irvin has led 113 of the 196 laps so far. We're coming up on the halfway point in, what, about 53 now, as 197, 198 laps now completed.
And some of our crew members talked to the 42 car. We speculated what might be wrong with Kyle Petty, and talking to the crew members, they decided that Kyle felt like the pace that they were running was a little bit more than he wanted to run, and so he decided to back off a little bit. And Jerry Punch, what happened to the 27 car? He came in the pits.
And he actually came behind the wall. You're right. The car apparently just shut off on Hud Strickland. They brought him behind the wall. Mike Hill and the McDonald's crew went to work beneath the hood. They had to replace the coil, and now the car has refired, and Hud has backed it out from behind the wall and headed back on the racetrack. They lost a lot of valuable time under the green flag.
Car's running okay, though, appears now.
Looks like he's about 13 laps down. So he just has to get out there and run as much as he can.
They just can't catch a break in that 27 car.
No, they've had a tough year. They've had some good runs, but they've just had some. In fact, he had an awfully good run here back in the spring.
Here is Ernie Irvin continuing to lead the Goodies 500. Now we have our aerial shots from the blimp, and you saw it arriving a few minutes ago. What happened was, I told you about the bad weather that we've had here overnight and early this morning. It was really foggy, the ceiling very low when the blimp should have taken off. It was delayed in arriving here, but we welcome the Family Channel blimp now to Martinsville Speedway and will provide the overhead shots for us this afternoon. It has a capacity of 4 riders plus the pilot, and the pilot today is Rafael Arroyo.
And you see they were staying 50 miles away from here, and they travel about 3 miles an hour, so no, I was only kidding.
Well, it is much more than that. Okay, Ernie Irvin, the leader. The lowest he has been during the race, third. That was on lap 23, and he has now led 120 laps.
All right, we go back to the 2 car, Rusty Wallace. He started 4th, turned to 2nd. He did lead the lap, lead the race, lap 167, and the lowest he's been is 4th at the start. He led 51 laps.
Right behind him is Sterling Marlin, who, as we noted a moment ago, is 2 laps down in the Ray Bestis Ford.
Sterling has not led a lap so far, involved in the early incident. Hut Strickland started 16th, currently running in 32nd. He's back on the racetrack after having been in. And his lowest is his current standing, 32nd.
Jimmy Hensley started 8th. Great qualifying run for the STP Pontiac, replacing Rick Wilson. And he's got as high as 7th. He's involved in that crash on lap 2.
And here's Morgan Shepherd in the Citgo Ford. He started 11th, currently in 20th place. His highest position was 6th back on lap 54. And his lowest position was 26th on lap 165. And, of course, he hasn't led a lap either. He's 2 laps down.
Going on back now to Jimmy Spencer, who currently is in 3rd position, his highest position. And ironically, his lowest was where he started, 15th.
That's pretty good. All right, now we got Bobby Labonte, another car involved in that second lap crash. He's currently 33rd, started 9th. Car's been starting great. Just can't put the finishing touch on it.
And Mark Martin started 21st, currently 21st. His highest was 16th, and his lowest was 32nd. That was on the first lap. And he hasn't led. He's 2 laps down now. Dale Earnhardt coming up on him to move around him. So Mark not having a good day.
Earnhardt is also a lap down, currently 12th after starting 7th, but he has moved up from 29th where he was on lap 9.
Next car in our snapshot, Dale Jarrett started 17th, now 13th. Highest was 13th and the lowest 18th. That was on lap 2 when he went through that wreck back in on turn 2.
And then comes the 1-car Rick Mast having a good day. Started 13th, currently 4th. And that's his highest position so far. And he got back to 16th on lap 1. But he hasn't led, but he's been right in the thick of this thing all day.
Having a great run, Rick Mast in the Skoll machine. Behind him is Derek Cope, who is currently in 22nd position, having moved there from 18th, but that's not the highest he has been. That was 17th on the first lap, and he has been as low as 31st.
Bojangles Ford, driven by Derek Cope.
He bumped the wall coming out.
Just touched the wall, did Cope. There's Kyle Petty, the mellow yellow Pontiac, started 5th, currently 5th. He did get his high 2nd place. 6th was the lowest he's been, which was on lap 2.
And Phil Parsons still out there running. Started 33rd. He's currently 22nd. His highest was 21st. And his lowest was, of course, the 33rd where he started back there. So Phil in the Manheim Chevrolet still out there.
Big disappointment for Darrell Waltrip. He started 6th. He is currently 29th. He would trigger with Sterling Marlin that second lap incident down in turn 1 that you can see has damaged his car.
And there's never nervous Jeff Purvis driving the Kodak Film Chevrolet. Started 30th. He's currently 25th. He got up to 15th, and 30th was his lowest.
And the next car is Ted Musgrave, the U.S. Air Jasper Engines car. He started 28th, currently 25th. Highest was 18th. And his lowest was where he started back in 28th.
Greg Sachs is in 30th. Started 34th. That was his lowest. And 24th has been his highest. And he, too, a little loose coming out of the second corner.
And right behind him is Brett Bodine. Started 14th. He's up to 6th place. Did get up to 5th on lap 119. He was back in 14th. Doing a great job with that contraption on his arm.
And right on his back bumper is his brother, Jeff Bodine, in the Family Channel Ford. Started 2nd, currently 7th. His highest was 1st, right at the beginning of the race. Of course, his lowest is 7th, where he is right now.
Ricky Rudd is 8th. After having started 20th, he's been up as high as 4th, and his starting position was his lowest.
Looks like old Harry Guinness, their next car, huh?
Well, we got a couple cars running side by side, but Harry Gant, former winner here at Martinsville. In fact, he got his first win here. Started 27th. He's currently in 14th position. Got up to 13th one time. Lowest was 28th back on that first lap.
Jeff Gordon started 25th. He's currently 15th. That's the highest he's been. He did get back to 28th on lap 125. He's trying to just make laps today to learn all he can.
Derek Cope has a flat tire over on the backstretch. He's coming in right now in the Bojangles Ford.
We continue our driver snapshot and look back on Terry Labonte, who has come up to 9th from 29th starting position, but he has been as high as 7th on lap 116.
And the next car behind Terry is Ken Schrader, who started 12th. He's currently 16th. He got up to 9th on lap 34. His lowest was 18th back on lap 100.
All right. That's about it.
Yep.
We didn't do Bill Elliott. Didn't do Elliott. He started 22nd, currently 17th. He did get up to 14th, and the lowest he's been is right where he is, 22nd.
And he just went the second lap down to the leader not too many laps ago. So Bill is 2 laps down now.
There's another car we missed, Todd Bodine, Bob.
Yep, he started 10th, currently 27th, ran very strong in the early opening laps, but is currently running in 27th position. He was as high as 5th on the...
Oh, it's spin over in turn 2. Lake Speed just tapped the 40 car of Kenny Wallace, and he has spun around. No caution yet.
Nope.
He's still moving in a forward position. He is still going, but he has gone a lap down. So Kenny Wallace, who was one of the cars on the lead lap, now finds himself a lap down.
I just got to mention that the most interesting remark during our driver snapshots was when Ned and I earlier were talking about how to be correct and not calling Brett Bodine's thing a cast, and so what has Benny come up with? Contraption.
Well, that
I
fits.
didn't call it cast.
Here's the tail end of Kenny Wallace's spin off of corner 2.
I looked up and just saw Lake Speed in the Motorcraft Ford right behind him and just assumed that they got together just a little bit coming off of that turn, and Kenny made a complete 360. A lot of cars went by, some on the bottom, some on the top. He kept going.
Battle for position between Jeff Bodine and Ricky Rudd here, 7 and 5, battling for the spot. A lot of traffic. A lot of traffic.
By the way, cars that we did miss on our snapshot, and we'll try to get to Dave before it's over, is Dave Marcus, Lake Speed, Wally Dowdenbach, and Bobby Hillen. They're still on the racetrack.
And there were 224 laps out of 500 completed, with Ernie Irvin leading Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Rick Mast, and Kyle Petty. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Martinsville. ESPN Speed World live coverage of NASCAR Winston Cup Racing, the Goodies 500. Ernie Irvin in car number 28. The Texaco Havoline Ford is the leader of this event at the moment. And this is his 12th career start here at Martinsville. His best finish.
Oh, a
was
spin right in front of the leader.
Jeff
Purvis goes up, and the yellow is out. Yellow is out.
Jeff Purvis in turn 2 brings out the caution. The Kodak Film Chevrolet.
And boy, a lot of cars here that were about to go a lap down, and some of them about to go 2 laps down as they rushed to stay in front of Ernie Irvin. Some of them did, and some of them didn't.
Jeff Gordon tried real hard to avoid going 2 laps down, and that's going to be a NASCAR call because it was really close. In any case, we are experiencing our
4th caution.
4th? Okay. 4th caution of the day.
There we
Comes
see
out
Jeff Purvis as he comes to a stop.
Going to see some pit stops. Here they come, Jerry.
And we're going to show you 3 pit stops here, 28, 2, and 12. Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, and of course Jimmy Spencer. And the car number 28, first one to make a stop. Ernie Irvin, Havoline Texaco crew going to work. Full change right side and left side tires. All 3 pits you're watching here is 3 pit stops down the front pit road. Ernie Irvin, left side tire. Likewise, Rusty Wallace's crew getting work on that car. Let's go back up there.
Rusty is in a tight situation for Ernie Irvin as Jeff Bodine pulled in right ahead of him. Got out cleanly, it looked like. Rusty is also out, and now here comes Jimmy Spencer.
12 car had some kind of problem in the pits. He's slow getting out, but he's able to maintain his position because Kyle Petty was the next car. Rick Mast was the next car, but Kyle beat him out of the pits.
You saw that 7 car of Jeff Bodine. He's about to go a lap down. He came in awfully late. He's going to lose a lap in the pits because he was about a lap down on the racetrack, and he might have needed to stay out there another lap and get caught up to the field before he came in. He is a lap down now.
And he went over the line when he made his pit stop. There we see Dale Earnhardt in Goodrich Chevrolet making a pit stop. Had to wait. He's a lap down, so he couldn't pit with the leaders. Had to go in on the next lap.
Crew going to the left side of the GM Goodrich Chevrolet on Dale Earnhardt.
Let us see. I think that's Hal Houston's father-in-law doing something.
And Jerry punches down with Kyle Petty.
And they've already been in to change right side tires. They're back in now to change left side tires. Facility on Pontiac. Actually, guys, this caution may have been a break for Kyle Petty. He was slowing and losing a lot of valuable time to the leaders. Apparently, they had a right front tire rubbing. Robin Pemberton and the crew were up on the wall watching as the car was coming by. We're just getting ready to report on it when the caution came out. And a very good break for Kyle Petty. They got him down and got all 4 tires changed, pulled the right front fender away.
As we told you, Jeff Bodine did lose a lap in the pits. We are under our fourth caution of the day. Jeff Purvis spinning over in turn number 2. The track crew is out cleaning up the debris on the backstretch. We'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Back at Martinsville, where we're watching from the Family Channel blimp, high overhead Martinsville Speedway, under caution. Field getting realigned for a restart. We've seen lots of pit stops during this caution period. We are under caution because of Jeff Purvis's spin. Here's how it happened.
Goes down in turn 1 and looks like he gets just a little bit of a bump. Is that Jeff go down in the 7 car?
Yep.
Just a touch in the rear and around he goes. I don't think he hit anything, but unfortunately he was lapped because the leader went by while he was sitting there spun.
He's in the pits again, but beats the pace car out just barely.
Wow, just barely right.
So he will remain just 1 lap down.
And lost that lap in the pits. You know, guys, we talked about the front pits and the back pits. Right now, Ricky Rudd is the only driver on the lead lap that is pitting on the backstretch.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good observation, and he is 5th.
Yeah, Rick is running good out here.
Is there a blimp?
Yep. That thing measures 132 feet in length. It's 44 feet in height, 37 feet in width, weighs almost 3,000 pounds, and can reach a top speed, Benny, of 56 miles an hour, not
Really?
3, as you said earlier.
I thought it was.
The 12 car that Jimmy Spencer was slow getting off pit road. What was the problem, Jerry?
And they had a problem with the jack on the left side of the car. Actually, the crew was trying so hard to win the battle on the pit road among the crew members in the pit stop. The jack man just told me honestly, he said, hey, I just made a mistake. He didn't have the jack all the way down when it came to the left side of the car and tried to roll it beneath the car. And when the jack's up, it's not going to go beneath the car. That clears the ground about 4.5 inches. So he had to let it down and then push it under the car. But it cost him an extra 4 or 5 seconds. And that's just all you need to have is 4 or 5 seconds lost, as competitive as it is down here. You find yourself back in the pack.
Yeah, fortunately he was under caution. He really didn't lose anything on the racetrack because he's going to line up in 3rd position. The lights atop the pace car are still on, so we're going to go at least another lap and a quarter before we go green. It's lap 238, and we'll be right back. We've just gone a half a lap under green. We're on lap 240. Ernie Irvan continues to lead this race with Rusty Wallace 2nd and Jimmy Spencer.
And the guy who was running in 4th place, Rick Mast, has slowed dramatically. I don't know if he's going to get back around. I think he has.
I believe he's got a flat.
Tough break.
Here's Rusty and Earnhardt running together. Now they're not on the lead lap, but they are side by side and nose to tail on the racetrack. And Earnhardt is trying to make up his lost lap.
And it was not a flat tire on Rick Mast. He went behind the wall as we watched this race.
Probably rear gearing or something, or transmission.
They want Earnhardt's looking pretty racy, boys.
Yeah, he's in as good a position as he's been recently to get the lap back. Here's what happened to Rick.
See the black and white car on the outside, and he went as high as he could on the track, and you can see how others had to scramble to get down on the inside of him. Of course, their spotters were telling them, say, the one car's high on the racetrack, something wrong with him, so they all went low and went around him. Now Rick Mast is behind the wall.
Here is Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd, and Kyle Petty all battling for position. Little bump there, little stack up.
Nothing wrong with that.
Well, the scores are showing 6 cars on the lead lap, and we're seeing 3 of them there running 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Right here above the late speed car. As we watch this battle and listen.
Jerry Punch with Rick Mast.
Now Rick's still sitting in the car. We can get a word with him. Rick, what happened out there?
Same deal as every week, man. You know, we're out there, we're running good. I was basically trying to save my brakes and, you know, try to keep the leaders up in front of me, keep everybody in sight to really run hard at the end. And on that restart, before the restart, we snapped the axle, I guess. I don't know, we just broke the axle. Every single week is something new. But, you know, the good part about it, at least we're running decent.
Well, he was driving his heart out, guys, and they have the car jacked up here in the pits. They're going to try to replace the axle, but what would have been a sure top 5 finish has gone away.
Yeah, a tough break for Rick.
Remember here a couple of years ago, was it last year we had such a rash of problems with these axles?
Jeff Gordon now alongside of Jeff Bodine.
I think he might have got a little high. Let's look at it as he comes off of turn 2 over here the last time around. There he is down on the inside. There's Kenny Wallace. Bumps him just a little bit and gets Gordon very high. And Morgan Shepherd goes under him. And here comes Terry Labonte and Jeff Bodine running side by side. And watch them as they go on into turn 3. And Bodine does get by, and Labonte finally gets by as well.
Yeah, see Jeff Gordon tried to go back by Jeff Bodine on the outside.
Yeah, he's staying up there. I said Labonte got by. He actually didn't, and now he's trying to take the position back from Jeff, and it looks like he's going to do it. Well, maybe not. He's still racing hard there.
Jimmy Spencer coming back.
Yeah, he's moving back, Bob. He was right up there. He's in 3rd position, but he's losing ground to the leaders. But that car on a new tire just doesn't go too well for Jimmy. The might him up for his car, but after they run about 20 or 25 laps, it gets going again. So we'll see if that happens again.
Terry Labonte is 11th, Jeff Bodine 12th, Schrader 13th, Gant 14th, and Bill Elliott 15th. Then it's Sterling Marlin, Lake Speed, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, and Morgan Shepherd. 21st is Ted Musgrave. Then it's Jeff Purvis, Wally Dollenbach, and I missed that.
I knew you couldn't keep up.
I was trying to help our guys in the pits keep up with who.
The names were too long, wasn't it?
Yeah, let me give the guys in the pits the top 10. It's Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd is 4th, Kyle Petty 5th, Brett Bodine is 6th. Then it's Dale Earnhardt in 7th place, so right down. Dale Jarrett is 8th, Michael Walker 9th, and Kenny Wallace is the 10th place car, guys. That'll help you in the pits.
And that's 4th and 5th right there, Rudd and Petty.
Yeah, they're only showing 6 cars on the lead lap right now.
Ernie Irvin has just been going in that Howland Star Ford Thunderbird.
Well, it's tough for anybody to get a lap back. Earnhardt's running decent now, so is Jarrett, but they can't do anything with the 28 car of Irvin. He just pulls away.
We have completed the halfway mark. In fact, we are 4 laps beyond that. 254 laps now completed, with Ernie Irvin leading at the halfway point, and he has led 169 laps. Ricky Rudd started 20th. We pick up his progression on lap 155. He was 9th, then moved to 8th, stayed there before moving to 4th, and that's where he is right now on lap 253.
Evidently, the 33 car has knocked the fender back on the tire. Reporting we can get some smoke from the corner.
Oh, yeah. Pretty obvious.
Tell you what, that 12 car looked like Harry Gant's closing up on that 12 car.
You know, we have an infrared camera set up once again down at the end of turn 1 to give you an idea of how hot these brakes get. We're going to see if we can, if there's any indication of a problem there in the right front by looking at the infrared camera this time down. Here it comes.
Harry Gant is in 13th position as we watch that.
Looks like everything's hot to me.
Yeah.
Everybody's hot.
Now, the dark color is the coolest, right?
Right.
And then the lighter you go,
Right.
the hotter
Red,
it gets.
Red is kind of in the middle. Yellow is really hot, and that's what you're seeing there on the brakes and underneath the cars. Yellow.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is really hot.
Didn't see any smoke from the car, but his brakes, along with everybody else's, are red hot.
You know, anymore when people see a car smoking in the corner, they say tire smoke. Folks, I'm telling you, I have never seen any smoke come off one of these radial tires. Used to, we saw tires and a spin down in the corner. Wally Dollenbach is spun.
Smacked right into the 68 car of Greg Sachs. Sachs tried to go by on the inside, but that didn't work.
Dollenbach was trying to spin around, and it looked like was backing up a little bit, and he backed right up in to the Country Time Ford.
He sure did, and I tell you what. Looks like he's knocked that right front tire back a little bit. I don't think that's the position he's supposed to be in.
I think it's a little further back.
Here's a replay.
I think Ted Musgrave, 55, had just come out of the pits and was down on the inside of the racetrack, and maybe Wally come up and cut down a little bit quick, didn't realize how fast he was going. And our spotters say that that is indeed what happened.
Yep.
And so they got the win.
Sachs goes behind the wall, so does Ted Musgrave. There they are, both of them behind the wall on the backstretch.
Well, the only leader that's pitting is only one on the lead lap is Brett Bodine. And the Quaker State Ford, we see him changing 4 tires on his car.
Doing a little chassis adjustment there in the back.
Yep, and that's the main reason for the pit stop.
Yep.
It's not necessarily that they needed tires. Tires don't wear that badly here at Martinsville.
Maybe he needed his contraption adjusted. You know,
Maybe, yeah.
He has an adjustment on that thing.
Yep.
Diane's got a little screwdriver, and she can just dial that thing in. I don't know which way they're supposed to adjust it. Ricky Rudd's in the back pit, John Kernan.
Well, they may be getting just a little bit off sequence, and it may win them the race later on for this number 5 Chevrolet Rick Hendrick team. 4-tire change for Ricky Rudd. Once again, the car's been just a little bit loose. They'll make another air pressure adjustment. Ricky Rudd, who's down and away. We've got, what, 238 laps, so that's going to put him a little bit off sequence with the leaders. So who knows? That could pay off to be a good strategy for Ricky Rudd.
He must carry his calculator with him, Bob.
He's not doing too bad, is he? Some of the cars now on the lead lap coming in, like Jeff Bodine, Jimmy Hensley, and Morgan Shepherd, pitted here on the front stretch. Under our 5th caution of the day, it is still Ernie Irvan leading the Goodies 500. 266 is out, and the dreaded Wasp has arrived in Martinsville on the camera lens. The race is back underway. Irvan has a good jump again, and still Earnhardt trying to get the lap back, and some contact between him and Rusty, and then Jimmy Spencer ran into the back of Rusty.
And Dale Jarrett gets alongside Rusty, and I tell you, Jarrett's car has been running well.
He's trying to get a lap back. There are just 6 cars on the lead lap.
I think Rusty's going to let him go and settle back in. Well, no, he sees Spencer coming up there on the inside, so he can't do that. So Rusty has to stay up there. Spencer had dropped back a good bit before this caution.
And that was for second place.
Yeah. Jimmy Spencer moves to 2nd. Rusty back to 3rd. There's Kyle Petty in 4th. Brett Bodine in 5th and Rudd in 6th. Those are the 6 cars on the lead lap.
And the 26 car of Brett Bodine stock changed 4 tires, hoping that would be an advantage, but he can't get down in the groove.
Now, those new tires, it takes a little bit to get them worked in. Ricky Rudd put on some tires too. Now whether they were scuffed or what, we don't know, but it takes a little bit to get them going.
And Bill Elliott is smoking heavily as he goes up the 2nd corner.
Don't know if that's some sheet metal rubbing on the tire, because Benny, before this caution came out, you were about to say you had not seen any tire smoke. The radial tires don't smoke as a result of slipping on the racetrack, but if a fender gets down against them, they will smoke on the other side.
Exactly.
That's obviously what's happening with Bill.
And I've asked the Goodyear engineers to explain that to me, and
said he couldn't.
They can't.
Well, I guess it's a different, maybe a little different kind of rubber on the side of the tire than what's on the tread. Boy, ooh,
that looks like
rubbing.
brakes or something, you know?
Rubbing pretty good. It's smoking pretty good, whatever.
Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd are racing for 5th.
Brett Bodine has it. Rudd wants it.
I tell you what, those new tires are just not the way to go for a little while, are they?
We've seen that all afternoon long.
Because we can see right now that it looks like that those guys are holding up. Kenny Schrader, Michael Waltrip.
And 90% of the racetracks we go to, maybe not quite that high percentage, but the majority of them, they'll qualify on what they call sticker tires, brand new tires, as we watch this battle for 2nd place. But here at Martinsville, they took the tires, they went out and scuffed them for a lap or so before they qualified with them. So that's an indication that the brand new tire is not the best tire here.
Looks like Rusty's got his car going again. The Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac closed up on the back of the Meineke muffler forward of Jimmy Spencer.
I think he probably picked up a little bit of rubber during that caution flag, and it took a little bit to get it run off, worn off of those tires. Elliott's in the pits, and John Kernan's there.
Well, you can see almost the entire crew on the other side of the pit wall. They were pulling at that right front fender. As Bill had some contact out on the racetrack, the right front fender was rubbing the right front tire, so that's what the smoke was.
Lost another lap in the process. Comes out beside Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd in their battle for position. There is Spencer, who's running second. His best 93 short track finish was 4th at Bristol back in April. And our Western Auto race summary showing you that Ernie Irvin has led 192 of the first 275 laps. 6 cars are on the lead lap. We've had 3 leaders and 4 lead changes. 5 cautions, total of 40 laps, and the average speed is 73.44 miles an hour. The leaders have included only 3, Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, and Jeff Bodine, each of those with 5 bonus points. Behind the wall, not necessarily out of the race, Musgrave, Rick Mast, and Greg Sachs. The Mechanic of the Year standings, Andy Petrie from Dale Earnhardt's team is on top. Steve Neal is second, then Buddy Parrott from Rusty Wallace, Frank Edwards from Ken Schrader, and Tony Glover from the Ford crew is in 5th position in the Mechanic of the Year standings from Western Auto. Second and third here, Jimmy Spencer, Meineke Muffler's car, and Rusty Wallace. Let's go down to John Kernan.
Hey guys, look at all the smoke coming off the rear end off of Ted Musgrave's car. We've seen a problem with some of the rear end gearing here breaking. This is all locked up, so apparently a tooth broken off the ring has caused it to jam up. And so they've had to pull in, and they're now working furiously underneath the U.S. Air Jasper engines number 55 Ford, trying to get the car fixed, a new rear end gear in, to get Ted back out into the race.
Now, Benny, you told me something interesting a couple of days ago about these rear-end gears and how they go back to the 60s and how things are a lot different than they are now today back then.
Well, this gear was made in, as you said, in the early 60s when these cars had 400 horsepower. They have almost double that now. Almost 725 horsepower, and they back off, they go in the corner, and these guys hit the throttle and slam several hundred horsepower against those gears. I don't know how any of them stay in there, because Bob, I used to build gears for these race cars, and I know just how difficult they are and how, look at that gear smoke, and I don't understand how any of those things stay together.
Well, maybe this track back then will be right down your alley, because the track fact is about how to build rear ends in these NASCAR Winston Cup cars. Here's a track fact and Dr. Jerry Punch. Track Facts brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. Here's Benny.
Continuing our car building process, today we're going to build a rear end or a rear gear. Keith Sawyer joining me, the gear builder for the Western Auto Chevrolet. Keith, what they doing?
All right, right here, Benny, they're installing the front pinion bearing retainer and the seal onto the pinion itself, along with the yoke, which he's sliding on right now. And he'll be torquing the pinion nut to approximately 150 foot-pounds of torque.
And install it into the carrier housing.
Okay, right here, Benny, he's installing the Detroit locker, the ring gear onto the Detroit locker itself.
And he tightens these bolts to how much?
Approximately 175 foot-pounds torque, Benny.
All right, you've always heard the drivers talking about a gear ratio. How they get this, they divide the amount of teeth on the pinion in the amount of teeth on the ring gear. 13 teeth on the pinion, 39 teeth on the ring gear. That's a 3.00 to 1 gear ratio. What's these little things, Keith?
Benny, these are called spanner nuts. This allows him to adjust the preload on the bearings.
This is backlash, the distance between the pinion and the ring gear.
Exactly, and right here he's checking the mesh of the gear with a pattern and make sure they mesh properly.
The gear is complete, it's ready to be installed, and go racing.
Well, just an update on Ted Musgrave's rear end gear. See the rear end still smoking. The pump, which is on the right, That's what pumps the fluid out of the rear end and through a cooling section. So what happened, the belt, which is on the drive shaft, pulling with that pump, must have come off. The pump is burned up, and also the rear end gear burned up. So not only are they having to change the rear end, they're also having to change that pump for the cooler. So they've got still a little bit of work, well, quite a bit of work to do to get the number 55 car back out there.
And so Ted Musgrave sits behind the wall, and the caution is out. What's the deal? Debris, maybe? You don't see any car going the wrong way.
Let's see some debris on the racetrack somewhere.
It's the 6th yellow of the afternoon, and that's going to bring some pit activity, I'm sure. Pace car comes out and picks up Ernie Irvan in turn number 3.
Now the 5 and 26 will stay out, and no doubt they will take over the lead. Jerry Bunch, why is the caution out?
Well, guys, there was debris on the racetrack. Apparently, it's an extension that comes onto a ratchet. They use the jack wedge in the car. It may have vibrated out of back of one of the rear windows of the cars, but apparently it was on the track up in turn 3. They saw it, and the caution came out. As now the leader is down pit road, Ernie Irvan at the Haviland Ford Thunderbird, and we would expect to see him to change all 4 tires. That's indeed what they are doing. They have changed right side tires. Keeping an eye on that right front fender that was rubbing early. It's completely clear of the tire. Now left side tire is going on. Behind him, Kyle Petty and a few others getting some service. He's off the Jackson 20, putting the pit stop for Larry McReynolds, the crew. And it's a battle back to turn 1, and Rusty Wallace will win the battle.
Well, Rusty Wallace had much the better pit stop. He tried to beat Ernie out of the pits, but remember, you got to maintain that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit coming out there, and I'm not sure who won the battle at the line.
I thought Ernie got to the line first. Rusty had the momentum going down through there. We'll let NASCAR figure that out.
That's their job. Now, those not on the lead lap are coming in for service on both the front stretch and the back stretch. Wallace and Irvan still trying to decide who will be at the front of the field when the green comes out.
And NASCAR told them that Ernie goes in front of the rest.
Okay, there's the answer to that question. Look at the activity on pit road, including Dale Earnhardt in the 21 car and Sterling Marlin and Darrell Waltrip. We'll be right back. Just as you rejoin us, we get set to go back to racing. The pace car comes in, the field accelerates, and we're back under green. Now, when we showed you that triple pit stop, our split screen, the bottom clock was not accurate. We did have a problem with the clock. Jimmy Spencer had a good pit stop, but he did not have a 15-second pit stop as was indicated on the clock.
Now then, we're getting down to it, guys. Just a couple hundred laps to go. We got to find out who's got what right now.
I think Ernie Irvan's got what it takes. I don't know. He's right now slipping just a little bit. Rusty working on it here with these new tires on.
Only one time today that Ernie Irvan has shown any weakness. That was right after a pit stop. Rusty Wallace got the lead and had it pulled away. Had a caution flag. Ernie came back, and since then has had the dominant car.
Brett Bodine and Ricky Rudd continued their battle for position, and John Curtin has an update on Rudd.
Bob, we had speculated that Rudd may not pit because he pitted a little bit off sequence, but Garrett Dehart said that was strategy that somewhat backfired with the fresher tires. They didn't really pick up that much on the racetrack, so they decided to pit for 4 tires. But another potential problem for Rudd, he got into the back of someone early on in the race. It pushed the grill in, so it obstructed the airflow into the radiator. They wanted to come in after they changed tires, come back into the pits again and pull the grill shell off with that mesh wire and try and open up the airflow a little bit to the radiator, but they were unable to do so. So keep an eye on that 5 car. It may have more problems with overheating.
And yes, the 42 of Kyle Petty is also in that battle, 3-car battle for position. From overhead the racetrack in the Family Channel blimp.
And if you have an overheating problem, that's the worst place you can be, is right directly behind another car. But what do you do at Martinsville, Ned? You got to be right behind the other car.
Yeah, especially on these restarts, you got to be in there close and don't get a lot of air into that radiator.
Again, for those of you just joining, we're a few minutes after 3 o'clock. We welcome you to Martinsville Speedway in Virginia, the Goodies 500. Ernie Irvan is leading, has led 214 of the 297 laps. Rusty Wallace second. Jimmy Spencer is third. Then comes Brett Bodine, Ricky Rudd, and Kyle Petty. Only 6 cars on the lead lap. Had an incident on lap number 2 that affected many cars.
Whoa, Rudd almost spun out.
And he lost a position. Kyle Petty took the spot away from him.
He got on the inside of Brett Bodine going in turn 3, went up and he touched the 8 with his left front and almost spun that tight AAA out. Great job by Rudd to save it.
We have 200 laps to go. Here comes the completion of lap 301. 199 to go. Lake Speed's Motorcraft Ford looking at Dale Jarrett ahead.
Jarrett had sort of a slow pit stop there. I don't know what happened. They had a miscommunication or something. The jackman let the jack down and stood there on the right side. Then they told him to come around. They went to change the left side. But Dale Earnhardt was penalized 15 seconds in the pit. You wonder why he's not up there again. He was penalized. Apparently went over the line or something. And anyway, he was penalized 15 seconds in the pit. So he's back there behind some of the other cars that he was running in front of before.
And once again, after a pit stop, Irvin just doesn't seem to have either he has slowed down or Rusty has gotten faster. Ernie not running quite the same line even then that he's been running today.
Not quite. When he's out there by himself, he can choose that line that he wants to run. Now he's having to drive a little bit defensively, but I think Rusty is running better now than he was before. So I don't think it's that Ernie has slowed down because they're pulling away from Jimmy Spencer, who is running third. Of course, Spencer has been slow for 20 or 25 laps after a change of tires, but they're having no problem moving away from him.
While we continue to watch first and second, Kyle Petty just passed Brett Bodine for fourth position. They continue, however, to battle for the spot.
Well, those three are really going at it here for position.
It's a good battle. Now watch what just happened to Kyle.
He's in front of Brett Bodine going in the corner.
Oh.
He goes in, smokes the tires with the brakes, and Brett goes up, tries to take the spot away, but Kyle maintains control, gets back on the accelerator, drives away.
Well, he really locked him up, didn't he?
He sure did. I tell you what, if you were turning 150 miles an hour here, he might have even flat spotted a tire. And it would cause a vibration, but here at Martin, it's probably not a problem as Ricky Rudd gets up on the inside of Brett Bodine, trying to take that spot away.
This is fifth. Rudd passes Brett for fifth. Dale Jarrett is trying to work that inside line.
Jarrett's still a lap down. He's being shown in the 8th position right now.
Let's see it again. Now watch the mark he lays down on the racetrack.
Wow, look at that.
He just locked the left front brake. When you go into the turn, you shift that weight over to the right side, and so then you don't have as much on the left front, and it just locked the brake on you there.
And Jerry Punch has a report on Ernie Irvan.
Guys, you mentioned that maybe Ernie isn't coming back up to full speed or isn't running quite as well as he was on new tires. Actually, I talked to Larry McReynolds, and Larry said we're running the fastest laps we have run all day. Last time by, Ernie was clocked at 20.76 seconds, and that's almost a qualifying speed. He said we're as fast as we've been all day. The problem is Rusty is faster than he's been all day.
That's a good point, Jerry. We thought that just might be the case because they are pulling away from Jimmy Spencer, who is in third place, and now the 28 car is beginning to pull away a little bit from the Rusty Wallace car by a couple cars.
And we see Ernie Irvan, the lap speed before the pit stop, almost 89 miles an hour, and just over 90 miles per hour, a mile an hour faster, a little over a mile an hour faster with those new tires. So they are helping Ernie Irvan, and now he's starting to put just a little bit of distance on Rusty Wallace.
And there's the interval back now to third place, Jimmy Spencer.
You know, Jimmy Spencer, the best finish he's ever had was this year at Talladega, the Winston 500, finished second. Remember when Rusty flipped there?
Yep. And he is having his best short track race of 1993. So with 312 laps now gone under beautiful skies at Martinsville, it's still Irvan leading the Goodies 500. We'll be right back. Caution is out again. Brett Bodine has spun between turns 3 and 4, and it happened just as we were coming back from the break, and this is how it happened.
Well, he was already sideways when we saw him, and he spun up against the wall. Don't think he hit anything hard. He got it going, but he went a lap down.
He did go a lap down. That's what I was looking for. I didn't even see the replay.
Yeah, that's too bad because he was on the lead lap and in 6th spot.
Now we've been about, what, 15, 20 laps since the last caution flag?
Will they or won't they?
Will they or won't they?
I don't believe the leaders will unless they got a problem.
Well,
Rusty, no.
These guys are so good at faking out.
Well, Kyle Petty's going to come in.
Yeah. Kyle's going to come in because he doesn't have anything to lose. He's the
Well, he's
last
fourth.
car on the lead lap, right?
Well, no.
Was he behind Rudd? Well, anyway, here's Jerry Punch.
And as you guys said, not much to lose for Kyle Petty. He will come in and get 4 fresh tires under caution. We've also heard a moment ago, guys, that Brett Bodine has radioed that he's getting very fatigued with that contraption, as Benny puts it, on his arm. So watch possibly for him to come in the next caution and get Dick Trickle in the car as a relief driver. 19.4 seconds. Kyle Petty is down and away in the middle yellow Pontiac.
Jerry, do you think that that could have caused Brett's spin with the fatigue and the fact that the contraption is bothering him?
Bob, actually, the biggest problem with that it's an external fixation device. They have 2 steel pins sticking out of the middle part of his hand and 2 above the fracture. Now, the brake was actually at the wrist area as Brett now brings the car down pit road, and he cannot flex. He cannot bend his right hand up, down, or up, which makes it very difficult for him to be able to turn the steering wheel. So it's very possible that could have been what happened. He is pitting right now, and John Curtin is there.
Jerry, just a 4-tire change. Donnie Richardson, the crew chief, said no, Brett didn't hit anything hard enough to hurt his injured wrist. Dick Trickle had already changed his street clothes. He is now back inside the truck, putting on his driver's uniform. So we anticipate a driver change in the 26 Quaker State Ford. Ernie Irvin continues to lead with Rusty Wallace second. We'll be right back.
Goody's 500 back under green. Lap 3:25.
This might be what Jimmy Spencer needed, Ned.
Might be. Those tires have cooled off for him. He had them run in real good, and now they've cooled off, and he might just have the right setup.
Ricky Rudd just took fourth place away from Kyle Petty as we watch Irvin and Wallace.
And once again, Irvin just not getting going. Here comes Rusty on the inside. Ernie's car just not sticking like it did a moment ago.
Boy, Rust is obviously faster, but just cannot pull off the pass. He's got the inside maybe into one. No. Well, Ernie gave him some room.
Yeah, he gave him room. Rusty gave Ernie room once before when they were in this position, so he let him go. Jimmy Spencer might have got into the wall a little bit there coming off of turn 2.
Spencer's third. Now Rusty has
got
another
position.
chance. Yep. And again, nice gentlemanly driving by these two. Rusty's going to pass him and take the lead.
Yeah, he's got the preferred groove down on the inside. There's no doubt about it. Ernie might hang up there for a few laps, but I don't think he's going to stay there very long.
Rusty gets credit for leading this lap.
Fans are loving it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Pontiac and a Ford going at it here.
Me too. This time Rusty was able to take a little bit, bite off a little bit more of the groove and able to pass Ernie. Uh-oh.
Now Ernie bumps Rusty.
It's really strange because now Rusty's car just doesn't run.
It's doing the same thing that Ernie's did when he was leading.
Exactly. What is it about it in front? The air must be real hard up there or something. As Ernie comes back on the inside of Rusty.
Yeah. How about that? And now the Ernie Irvin fans go crazy. He's got the lead back.
What in the world?
Normally, you don't think they run fast enough here when we talk about taking the air off the spoiler and getting him loose and that kind of thing, but you don't normally think in terms of that here at Martinsville because of the speeds that they run here, and they run the spoiler so straight up. here anyway, putting a lot of pressure on the back. But maybe, I don't know if it had any, I can't believe that would have had much effect.
I bet Jimmy Spencer was just rubbing his hands and saying, "Come on, boys, wreck." No, you reckon he was doing that?
Well, no, he wouldn't.
Well, once again, here are the top 5 in the point standings and where they're running. Earnhardt is 7th, Wallace 2nd, Martin 17th, Jarrett 6th, and Shepard 14th. If points were awarded now, the difference would be what? 152. And Jarrett would move back to 3rd, where he was for many races this year. Martin to 4th, and Shepard remains in 5th.
So,
But
Rusty,
as I say, we got
9 points.
166 laps to go.
Yep.
Lots can happen between now and then. But you're right, Benny can pick up a lot.
What do you think? Is Jimmy laying back, or is he running as hard as he can now?
Knowing Jimmy Spencer, he's running as hard as that 4 to go right now because he'd like to get up there and be racing with him. He loves to race.
That's what I thought.
But he's in a good position just sitting back there watching these two, although Rudd is not too far behind him.
Rudd is coming on. He has been in the lead lap, the only car on the lead lap that is pitting on the backstretch. Not hurting him too much now since there are only 5 cars on the lead lap, so he gets to start right up there. That backstretch doesn't hurt him that much now.
And once again, Rusty, back in 2nd place, seems to have a faster car than the leader.
Yep, sure does.
Got to have a stiff breeze up there in the front or something that's blocking it. I think if Ernie can stay out front for 30 or 40 laps, he'll be able to pull away from the 2 car. He's shown that ability all day, but
Let's check and see where our Winston Cup points leader is. There he is, Dale Earnhardt. He is a lap down, but he is in 7th position. So if he can maintain that, he isn't going to lose very much. There in the early going of the race, it looked like it was going to be another disaster for Dale, but things have worked out fairly well.
I tell you what, that's really been impressive the way Earnhardt's hung in there today and taking the adversity that he had on those very first laps. Getting a lap down, but he's hung in, and as you said, 7th place. Uh-oh, battle heating up for 3rd spot.
Yep, Rudd is coming in, closing in on Spencer. This is for 3rd. Rudd is shaking off that disappointment at Dover well.
Yeah, you got to forget about those things. This is a new race.
Yep.
This is a different deal. So this got to forget those things and come on out here and do your best today. And I think that's the way he entered the race. Go ahead and try to win this one.
Rudd had closed up on the back bumper of Spencer. Now Spencer putting a few car links on Rudd. Boy, it's just strange how the cars come and go.
Yeah, Kyle Petty now moving back in on Rudd.
And Irvin has opened up a 6-8 car length advantage on Rusty. See, there they are.
Amazing.
Certainly any one of the cars on the lead lap can win the race, but it has been, for the most part, an Irvin domination with good running also by Rusty Wallace. Ernie has led 255 of the first 343 laps. Well, race fans have been following the NASCAR circuit this year, probably spotted this family channel blimp at a number of races. And we welcome them to Martinsville Speedway in Virginia and thank them for the overhead shots that they are providing of this beautiful half-mile racetrack. The top 5. Ernie Irvin, Rusty Wallace, less than a second behind. Spencer is about 2 seconds behind. Kyle Petty, during the break, moved to 4th. He's 3.19 seconds behind, and Rudd is 5th, almost 4 seconds behind the leader, Ernie Irvin. And we mentioned that Ernie had led 250-some laps, so that means that he has picked up the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. Look how close that car comes to the wall on the straightaways.
That's the groove.
That's a little too close for me.
No. Hey, if you just touch it, you would be perfect every lap. Just touch it. Watch. Just touch it, Ernie. See? Perfect.
Okay. He continues to maintain now. Well, he's stretched it out. It's 9-10 car length advantage. And remember Ricky Rudd, who was right up on the back bumper of Jimmy Spencer a few laps ago. Now he's dropped back to 5th.
Kyle Petty's about 7 or 8 car lengths in front of him. Well, now it's closed down to about 3 car lengths.
There's Spencer and Petty and Rudd. So that's 3rd, 4th, and 5th right there.
And we see Kyle Petty in the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. He wanted to tell the fans, the Charlotte fans, that hockey is coming to Charlotte Tuesday night.
Oh, I wish I could be there.
The Boston Bruins and the Philadelphia Flyers at the Independence Arena. You know, Kyle, Felix, Richard, and a couple more people own a hockey team down in Charlotte. Charlotte Checkers, they start October 20th.
Are they in the IHL?
Yeah.
So they'll be playing in Indianapolis.
Yes, we will.
Well, you can come and go to a hockey game with me this
I'll
winter.
be pulling for the other side, though.
That's all right. We'll fight there like we do here.
You'll be in the right sport then.
Yeah. Jerry Punch has something to correct on pit road, Jerry.
Well, not to correct, but take a look at what some of Kyle Petty's guys are wearing. They're wearing the Charlotte Checkers hockey hats, and that's the Charlotte Checkers hockey team will be owned by a combination of Richard and Kyle Petty, along with Felix Labata. So the crew here today, in honor of that new hockey ownership, wearing some hats to showing their hockey colors for the Charlotte Checkers.
Charlotte really has quite a hockey heritage. They had a team.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, called the Checkers a few years ago. John Kernan has a report on Ricky Rudd, who has fallen back to 5th spot, John.
Hey, Bob, I got a couple of things. First, Ricky Rudd's car, we talked about being loose. They had not made a chassis adjustment all day. They had just simply tried to change it by the air pressure in the tires, and it has now gone away from it. It's gotten very, very loose again. And you notice Todd Bodine has slowed way down. He's coming on to pit road. He is out of brakes. But getting back to the Charlotte Checkers, they're not the International Hockey League. They're the East Coast Hockey League. And the reason I know that is because where I live in Roanoke, we've got one of those teams too, the Roanoke Express. So, Vinny, maybe you and I get a little friendly rivalry going on the ice rinks.
So they won't be playing the Indianapolis ice, but Todd Bodine is on pit road. No brakes, as you heard John report.
Yeah, we saw the crew go down about 3 pits away and try to get him stopped as he came in. When you say no brakes, you're right. He had zero brakes. He has learned a tough Martinsville lesson here this evening. Man, it was so hard to keep brakes on your car at this place. You think you were not even touching the brakes, but you get in a situation, you're about to get lapped, you start hitting the brakes, and in 15, 20 laps, it seemed like no brakes.
Because they have a lot better brake technology today than back, certainly when I drove race cars.
Here's an Autolite field summary from the top of Mark Martin's car.
That's when you drove your feet when he did.
Yeah, that's right.
That hood isn't in the correct configuration, is it?
I don't think so. I think he's kind of bent it up a little bit. It's been on both sides.
You can see he's 18th. That first lap crash really hurt Mark.
And Darrell.
Yeah.
And Sterling.
Hensley.
And Labonte, Bobby Labonte. Yeah. And Dale Earnhardt.
Pretty much settled down here. Nobody in contention for a position. So we'll take another break and be back with more of our live coverage in just a moment from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. There's your leader, Ernie Irvin of the Goodies 500 here at Martinsville in the Haviland Ford number 28. While we were away, Ricky Rudd maintained 5th position, but he lost a lot of activity on the track because Harry Gant, something happened in the engine because he was laying down some oil, I guess.
It looked like that Rudd thought he had blown up, or actually did get in some oil, somehow drifted up high on the racetrack. And watch as Earnhardt and Rudd get together going down in turn 1. That was awfully close as well.
Sure was. Now here's Rudd coming out of the 4th turn down the straightaway. Now watch
Earnhardt pull up in the middle here.
Yeah.
And he and Rudd get together, and Rudd just moves out of the way. Gant was as far down on the inside of the track as he could get.
And John Kernan has another report as Gant's car is being apparently pushed behind the wall.
Well, Bob, the first thing they thought it might be either the transmission or the rear end, but now that they've had a chance to look at it on pit road, they determined that they've broken the camshaft. So Harry Gant and the crew will call it an end to an early day, or an early end to their day. There we go.
That's easy for you to say. Gant has 3 wins here, won this race in '91, and Jerry is with Richard Childress.
And RC, after a tough beginning, its patience has kept you in this race today and also in the point battle.
Yeah, well, we're just trying to hang in there. The car's running pretty decent. Rusty and 28's awful strong right now. But, I just told Dale got a long way to go. We just want to try to race with him today.
Was it the bump at the very beginning or when he tagged the wall in turn 4 that really hurt the car the worst?
Well, I think getting hit coming out of turn 4 probably hurt the car worse than anything. We've had to keep adjusting around. We've helped it out now.
That's Richard Childress, the car owner for Dale Earnhardt. They are currently being shown in 6th position, 1 lap down. They are the first car a lap down, but they have hung on and are trying to get a top 5 finish.
Earnhardt started 7th. We pick up his progression on lap 275. That time he was 7th, fell to 9th, worked his way back to 7th, and now is in 6th at the end of 370 laps.
After the first 2 or 3 laps, he was probably about 30th because he was involved in the crash over there, had to make a couple of pit stops, so had to start about 30th.
Lake Speed is driving the Motorcraft Ford this weekend.
Car that won this race last year, maybe not the same car, but the same team.
Full-time driver in this ride next year. And here's that foot cam, and we also show you the telemetry. Let's see what he reaches speed-wise. 109. Then breaking down to
60 miles an hour still.
Same as it was, yeah.
Same as it was as far as the slowest speed.
108.
If you pump the brakes every time you go in the corner, that's what is that, 2,000 times you hit the brakes here at Martinsville?
Well, now, Benny, you're asking me to do multiplication.
Yeah, that'd be right.
We will get back to this, but right now let's go to John Kernan, who's with Harry Gant.
Well, the Skull Bandit crew is working on the car. They're checking it out, and Harry has climbed out of the car. And Harry, is it a camshaft?
Well, it's an awful vibration. I don't know. The car's been missing real bad all day, and in the corners it just wouldn't run. But as the day went on, the track got slick. It hurt the other cars worse than it did me. So we was running pretty good there with it missing, but I think whatever was called it to miss is what broke whatever broke.
Thank you, Harry Gant. And early into his day, as we said, let's go across to Dr. Jerry Punch, who's with Buddy Perry.
And they are all smiles here. Buddy, your car has gotten better and better, particularly with new tires. It's a rocket out there.
I'll tell you what, this is Graf Pontiac. We made an adjustment a while ago. Todd and the guys that took 2 rounds of bite out of that thing. I wish we'd have taken 4 out because that's really been pivotal on our on this run. So we got a pit stop coming up about 440 laps, and there's just about 60 laps to go. So we're going to loosen that baby up and see what we can do. I'm not going forward to Ernie Irvin and them. They've done a good job and they're running off the track. So we'll just see how it shakes out. Ernie's driving us clean. We're driving him clean. It'll be a good race.
Here's a spin off of turn 4. Greg Sachs has spun up there. Looked like he and Dale Jarrett might have got together a little bit.
Caution's out. This is the 8th one.
All right, that pit stop he was talking about at 440, we can throw that out the window because it's going to be at about 380.
Yeah, we got 120 laps to go. And the caution is out. Pace car picking up Ernie Irvin in turn 3. And the pits are open.
And we will be seeing some pit stops. There's no doubt in my mind they can go all the way from here. Should be able to without any problem.
Here they come. Irvin, Wallace, Spencer.
And Kyle Petty will come in.
Kyle Petty.
Those are the only 4 that are sitting on the front stretch that are on the lead lap.
Let's go to Jerry and Ernie Irvin's pit.
Well, what may be their last pit stop, right side and left side tires fueling the car. And it looks like to be routine here, but remember, Rusty Wallace and crew, they're going to loosen it up and they'll give Rusty a run at Ernie Irvin. Let's go back upstairs.
Rusty is away in 18 seconds. Spencer's away in 22.4, and now Ernie moves away in 19.8 seconds.
But once again, Wallace's crew at 1.8 seconds faster puts him in the lead on the racetrack.
Yep, Rusty beat Ernie out of the pit, so that's the way they'll restart.
That must be brand new tires on that 2 car. See how he's swerving back and forth finally? He's trying to get some heat in those tires and scuff them a little bit.
Here's why we're under caution.
Yeah, it looks like Dale and the 68 car got a little bit of a bump from Dale Jarrett, and around he went then.
Yep. Greg sat there for a little bit, apparently couldn't get it. The engine must have died.
Here's the driver's change as Brett Bodine gets out, John.
Gets out very easily, is aided by Donnie Richardson. Dick Trickle slides right in. You can see Brett just looks like he's worn out. They're asking him if he wants a cold drink, and Brett has told him no. He's waved him off. Now they're hooking Dick Trickle up. They'll have to hook up the radio, and then they'll also have to put the steering wheel back in. They have added a little bit of gasoline this time, but they'll have to pit one more time for fuel. They're trying desperately to get the window net up, and now Dick Trickle is in the car. He just barely beats the pace car out. Now they're attending to Brett Bodine, and as you can see, Brett, as he takes the helmet off, just looks very, very exhausted. We'll give him a few minutes or as much time as he needs to catch his breath.
Yeah, he looks like a whipped puppy. But he put up a gallant fight in driving that Quaker State 4 today under some rather adverse physical conditions. We'll take a break and be back in just a moment.
Back in Martinsville Speedway under caution here as the laps are winding down. 385 of 500 complete. A bit of a problem, almost a crisis here in the Kyle Petty pits, the Mellow Yellow team. Apparently Kyle is very, very ill in the race car. He has been on pit road twice. The last time they tried to give him fluid, he had difficulty even drinking the fluid. He came back in just a moment ago. They got an emergency medical crew over to him, gave him some oxygen. They were calling for a relief driver. Jimmy Hensley came running down pit road with his driving suit on. Likewise, Harry Gann is standing beside me in the pit here in the Kyle Petty pit with his skull suit still on. And it's going to show you what kind of sportsmanship you got in this sport. When a driver needs help, I don't care what the points are involved or what kind of car you drive, you come and help. And Harry Gann and Jimmy Spencer Jimmy Hensley are both standing by waiting and watching to see if Kyle will come back in.
And Jerry went a lap down on that last pit stop that he made there. They tried to get him back out, but he didn't, so now there are only 4 cars on the lead lap.
So only 4 cars now on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt, during his pit stop, they were pushing fluid into the front end of that car, trying to get it cooled down. And watch what happened as he came out of the pits.
He's probably overheated just to, and Darrell Walter came out, almost got in the side of Earnhardt. And let's go to John Kernan on Dale Earnhardt. You got a heating problem, John?
They did, but now Andy Petrie tells me he thinks they may have gotten the problem fixed. They had a lot of debris sticking on the grill, on the front grill, once again obstructing the airflow. Very important. Get a lot of air into those radiators, the way they turn those engines and grind those engines and heat them up. But now they think they've got the grill clean. They've put more water in. And right now the temperature gauge looks pretty good. So Andy Petrie says he doesn't think it'll be a problem from here on out. We'll just have to wait and see.
Petty is back in, Jerry.
And Kyle Petty came back in to hand the oxygen cylinder back out. He had gotten the oxygen cylinder from the emergency medical teams, had it in the car, sitting in his lap, riding around, getting some fresh O2. And he had Jimmy Hensley standing by. He said he feels a little bit better right now, according to the radio report. So they're going green this time. Kyle will try to hang on and see if he can make it back upstairs.
Rusty Wallace leads him down for a restart on lap 390.
Earnhardt now in the 5th position.
Trying to get the lap back.
This might be his best shot at it.
Some contact between he and Rusty. They rub going in one. They're still side by side.
Fans are loving it.
And Earnhardt hits him again, and they go, and here comes Ernie Irvin. He's going to take the lead.
Oh, baby.
Ernie's got it.
Here comes Spencer. He gets by Earnhardt. And Rusty had the lead. He's got to get it back. He did it before. Can he again? He's on the inside. He takes a look.
once again, we're seeing that situation where Ernie Irvin just doesn't get off the corner well.
It looks like to me that Rusty's car right now is just a little bit. Caution flag is out.
Maybe there's some debris on the track.
Debris on the racetrack. Brings out another caution. Now we've got 108 laps to go.
Somebody run over him. This might be exactly what Ernie needs just to
get those tires cooled back down again.
Yeah, scuff those tires, get them cooled back down, because we saw earlier on it was really an advantage to him.
It's the 9th caution of the afternoon here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. We'll be back with more of our live coverage right after this. Back in Martinsville, where, as they say, the thick plottins. Rusty.
Try that again.
Rusty Wallace had to come in for a pit stop. He had a cut left rear tire. He is on the lead lap. He did not lose a lap. The other development is that Dale Earnhardt now is by inches back on the lead lap.
And racing Ernie Irvin as hard as he can to stay in that position. Irvin trying desperately to keep Earnhardt a lap down.
I tell you, we're going to see some action here in a minute if this keeps up.
Yeah.
Neither one of those drivers wants to give an inch. Earnhardt wanting to get back in the lead lap. Ernie wanting to keep him a lap down.
And meanwhile, Jimmy Spencer watching it all.
Spencer now is in second, Rudd third.
Oh, and Jeff Bodine and Mark Martin got together, coming off the second corner, almost spun. We got everything back under control. But what these guys are doing some pretty serious racing right now.
They sure are. Again, this isn't for the lead. Dale Earnhardt's trying to get back on the lead lap.
Could be for a championship, though.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, and there the 7th car has spun.
And this could bring out the caution that gets his lap back. Are they going to throw a caution?
No, they didn't.
No caution.
And the 7th car is gone. Some contact between the 28 and the 20 is still out of control.
Now, when they came by that time, if the caution had been out, the 28 was in front of the 3 car.
Yep, that's right.
We got tapped just a little bit down there. Now Ernie will try to go on the inside. Had a tough time up there on that high side.
What a race.
And there he gets bumped a little bit, the 3 car. Just a little, my turn.
Let's go back and document what happened to Rusty. They were coming down for the restart, and suddenly Rusty flanked into the pits.
And changed the left rear tire that was flat. He got back out. There he is, changing the tire.
Boy, they did that in a hurry.
They did. Good work by
on
the
a half-a-mile track. You change tires and don't lose a lap. However, it came at a good time. They were not up to speed when he dived down pit road, so that helped his cause there some.
And he maintained that 35-mile-an-hour speed limit until he reached the mark, and then
Ernie Irvin is back in front of Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt is back a lap down.
Spencer has also passed him, and Ricky Rudd appears ready to. The question that you ask is, what happened to Rusty that caused the left rear to go down? Was it this incident between Rusty and Dale Earnhardt?
Well,
it could be any place.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
That's cause enough there. I mean, that could have happened there. That's for sure.
But they went on a run for 2 or 3 more laps after that.
And Rusty is saying that perhaps it was a bump from the 18 car. That he got together with Dale Jarrett under caution that caused the tire to go down. In any case, Rusty is still on the lead lap. He is in 5th position, but his chances of winning at this moment, unless we have a caution, are certainly not as good as they were. Jerry, what does that tire look like?
Well, Bob, it's flat for one. Obviously, that's the biggest concern for Rusty Wallace. But let me show you. There's paint all around the inside and around the inside of the wheel. This is not black paint, as you can tell. It's not off the 3 car. I'm not sure where it came from, but this is what the contact was that caused the flat tire, the left rear flat for Rusty Wallace.
Looks like a color that isn't on any car out there to me, doesn't it to you?
Yeah, that's right. The left rear, yeah, they said the wall is white, but that was the left rear, and I know he hasn't been close to any wall with the left side of his car.
Yeah. So the situation is that Irvin leads, Jimmy Spencer is second, Ricky Rudd third, and Rusty Wallace is now fourth. Those 4 cars on the lead lap. Dale Earnhardt is fifth, a lap down. And Rusty is about 3/4 of a lap behind in 4th position. There are now less than 100 laps to go here at Martinsville in the Goodies 500, the 25th race of the '93 NASCAR Winston Cup season. The top 5 in the point standings. Dale Earnhardt running 5th. Rusty Wallace is 4th. Martin 17th. Jarrett 6th. Shepard 13th. If points were awarded now, the difference would be 171 points. Jarrett would be 3rd, Martin 4th, and Shepard would remain in 5th.
Well, if Earnhardt could just keep that 10 or 15 point difference each week, looking good.
There's Jimmy Spencer in 3rd position. Make that 2nd position. So, Ned, let me understand something. Dale Jarrett is a good golfer.
Yeah.
Does he get that ability from you or Martha?
Martha. Yeah, yeah. Well, I taught him everything I know. I don't know anything about the game anymore.
Oh, Kenny Wallace spins coming off the 2nd corner, and the caution flag is out. Caution is out.
It's number 10 of the day.
Boy, this is a break that Rusty Wallace needed.
Okay, let me correct something. That Pro-Am is at 9 o'clock on ESPN tonight, not 10.
Yep, 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So, the, what is it? What is the thick and plots here? Or is it plot thick?
Thick plottins, yeah. Haven't you ever heard that?
Not in the way you put it, no.
All right, now then, who's going to pit? Who isn't going to?
Well,
Ernie's going to.
Yep. Oh, Jimmy stays on the track, and so does Rudd.
Okay.
Rudd's pitting on the
Rudd's
back.
pitting on the back
Yeah.
stretch. But
Spencer stayed out there.
maybe not a bad move. That car gets faster as time goes on. So we've said that several times this afternoon.
Jerry Punch is in the 28 pit.
And right side tires going on the Haviland Ford Thunderbird. They will change all 4 tires, top it off with fuel. They really don't need to add fuel here, but they will top it off anyway. Splash of fuel from Norman Kosovicu. Left side tires going on, lug nuts in. Everything looks pretty routine as they get ready to send Ernie back out. Let's check in the back pits with John Turner.
I see Rusty Wallace there on pit road. Right sides have been changed, going around to the left side.
They're going to have to hurry. The caution car's coming off of turn 4.
It may be close,
but they're fast.
Yeah, he again just barely makes it out. Here comes the pace car down. Rusty just barely makes it out. Now
18-8, I'm told, on the 2 car. Here's Earnhardt.
Earnhardt is in. So is Schrader, Jarrett, Brett Bodine, Darrell Waltrip, Morgan Shepard, Kyle Petty, Jeff Bodine. A lot of action on pit road. We do have a driver change on the 42 car. Kyle Petty gets out. Now, John, why did the 12 car stay out?
Well, Bob, I tell you what, let's go to the crew chief and find out. Jimmy Finnick, why did you guys stay out there? There's still 77 laps left.
Our car runs pretty good on old tires. On new tires, it really don't pick up that much. You know, we can run the same speed with 70 laps on our tires versus new tires. So we took a gamble for track position. If it works, fine. If it don't, you know, we tried.
You know, you guys saw a lot of sticker tires out here. You didn't get a whole lot of chance yesterday to scuff the tires. And is that the reason that you didn't have any scuffed tires?
Nah, Goodyear's got a good tire here. You don't need to scuff nothing. We're in good shape.
So you're just set up to run long green runs then?
Yeah, we're set up for long runs. That's about the way our car is right now.
Okay, that's the word from Jimmy Finnick. They think their car will be okay.
Well, Spencer will lead this race and will lead an event for the first time since Talladega in May. And here is the reason why we are under caution as we watch from Lake Speed's roof cam. And there's a spin.
Yeah. Wallace gets bumped in the rear.
Looked like Jeff Gordon might have touched Kenny Wallace coming off the 2nd corner.
And a close call there for Lake, who just barely got by the spinning car of Wallace.
We saw a couple of those rookies together a little bit earlier in the race, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Those same two rookies that we saw earlier together.
Lining up for the restart. Two abreast formation. Jimmy Spencer will have
now
advantage.
Earnhardt and Jarrett both came in the pits. Don't know if new tires will help or not. Might be their best opportunity, Earnhardt in particular, to get back in the lead lap, and he's thinking that right now. We saw what he did to Rusty Wallace there a while ago, how hard he raced him. You can rest assured he'll race Jimmy Spencer just as hard or harder.
73 laps to go as they come down and receive the green flag. Back to racing. And
some contact between Spencer and Earnhardt. And Spencer goes way up the racetrack. He's going to lose the lead.
Sure does. Irvin grabs it.
And Spencer was trying so hard to keep Earnhardt a lap down that he forgot to hit stop when he got to the corner. That's a race for second place with Ricky Rudd. And meanwhile, Earnhardt trying his best to get a lap back.
But Irvin passes him and puts him a lap down again as Dale Jarrett comes to the inside, or tries to work to the inside of Dale. And this battle for second is a good one. Rudd and Spencer.
They better not look back because Rusty Wallace is going to be right there on their bumper.
Yep. Don't count Rusty out by any means. He had a lot of racetrack between himself and the leader before that caution, but now that's all gone away. And Rusty looks to the outside of Spencer and third position. Can't get it.
Boy, this is playing into Irvin's hands.
Oh, yeah.
Rusty Wallace has indicated or shown he's the only car here capable of running that Hamlin Ford, and he is mired in traffic.
Only 4 cars on the lead lap as we take a look at our Autolite field summary. A lot of cars that are 1 lap down. Spencer, Bodine, Gordon, and Petty are 2 laps down.
Yeah, 3 laps down here.
Martin 17th. Darrell Waltrip 21st. And there's Rusty now working inside of Spencer. They bump in turn 4. And they race down the straightaway to turn 1 where Rusty will get third spot.
Well, right now it's looking as if that strategy didn't pay off for the 12 team. It looked good for the moment, but right now I don't think it's working.
Still got a lot of laps to go, and it's anyone's race in the Goodies 500 from Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Minutes after 4 o'clock Eastern Time, and ESPN Speed World welcomes you either to or back for the Goodies 500 NASCAR Winston Cup race at Martinsville, being led by Ernie Irvin with 60 laps to go. Riding with Lake Speed here, the roof cam on the Motorcraft Ford.
And Earnhardt
is slow.
Earnhardt is broke on the backstretch.
Car looks like it's dead in the water.
Championships are won and lost because of things like this. And if Earnhardt has to park this car, it's going to be a major, major blow. He has run such a great race today since being involved in an incident on lap 2. But now he brings the GM Goodwrench Chevrolet down very slow.
Looks like a broken axle. Or maybe the rear end is broken. Transmission, something in the drivetrain is the way they're indicating.
This will be a major blow to his championship drive. Let's go to the pits and Jared Butler.
And Benny, that was an awfully good guess. They think it is an axle that is broken in the rear of the Goodwrench Chevrolet. The crew turned around and just hoisted the axle, and now they've jacked the car up. Cecil Gordon is spinning the left rear tire. They're talking to Dale Earnhardt. He throws a cup of ice water out of the window in disgust. After trying to hang on all day and get a top 5 finish, he was being shown in 5th place, and now they have him on pit road and we're beginning to take some of the wheel and tire off on the left side, and apparently it must be an axle problem.
Man, oh man, oh man. What a unbelievable change of circumstances here.
That's for sure. Kenny Wallace had a problem on the track a few laps ago. John Kernan is there.
Well, it was a flat right side tire as he rolls the right rear as Kenny was running out. The right rear looks like it's up. It must have been the right front tire that went down, and Kenny gets 2 tires changed and is away. A tough break for the rookie contender who is running in the top 10.
Yeah, having a great race, too.
They're pushing Earnhardt's car down pit road as if they're going to push it behind the wall or down to their transporter.
But with only, what, 54 laps to go? You would think that they may not have an opportunity to get it back out there. Jerry, what do you think?
They're still really not sure. They think it could be the rear end. Remember, Earnhardt hit the wall coming out of turn 4 at the very beginning of the race and shoved the whole housing over. They tried to put it in gear and get it to pull, and it wouldn't even turn either of the rear wheels. So if that's the case, it is probably not the axle. It's probably the rear end. So they're going to push you behind the wall, jack it up and check it. But boy, this could be a terrible ending here at Martinsville, given, hey, it's sort of like what happened in the spring. What a terrible day they've had here at this short track.
And the thing about it, guys, there's not that many cars have fallen out of the race.
Right.
There are many that are a number of laps down, but you know, he's going to finish down near the end of the pack. If he's going to finish, what, about
26, 27,
somewhere down in that neighborhood.
He finished 27th last week at Dover.
That is, if he can't come back out and run some more laps.
Right. Well, the championship is far from over. Now watch Earnhardt's car very carefully here. He goes into the corner.
He gets back on the gas. There's where you get back on the gas, and that's where a gear would strip. That's where the teeth, you would shell the teeth off the gear, getting back on it with that 700 horsepower and nailing those teeth. I'm telling you, I don't understand how they all take it. Any of them take it, much less the fact that 30 or 40 cars take it. I'm just speculating that he could have shelled the teeth off the ring gear, but
You can see Jerry down there, and I'm sure he'll try to get us an interview with Dale if he possibly can. There's Rusty Wallace, who is in 3rd position.
And he's not gaining on, certainly not on Ernie Irvin.
Ernie Irvin is the leader. 2nd place is Ricky Rudd, and 3rd is Wallace. But what Wallace is doing is gaining points because Earnhardt's car is sitting in the pits and may not be able to come back out. There's Irvin. He's the leader in the Haviland Ford. And we'll take a break and be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Martinsville. A spin in turn 2 and
caution.
Terry Labonte, and another caution comes out. The 11th one of the afternoon. And Jerry Punch is with Dale Earnhardt.
And Dale is still sitting in the car. Dale, a tough break for you. What happened out there?
Well, rear end come out of it. We're sitting there, we got a lap down because of that flat at first. Sitting there just running at a pretty good pace. The brakes is getting a little warm, but we still had good brakes and everything. Awful hot in a race car today for some reason, I don't know, but we're just sort of holding on there. I could go pretty hard, but I couldn't go with that 28 and the 2 cars. We'd sort of ride along there about 6th, 4th.
Dale Earnhardt sitting in the race car. It is extremely hot in these cars. A very hot and humid day here at Martinsville. He is getting some fluid. They have the car jacked up. Apparently, as you heard Dale say, it's the ring and pinion. It's the rear end that came out of the car. They're trying to get it changed. We might want to update also that Kyle Petty was pulled out of his car and taken to the infield care center. The folks from the air care team are here. There's trauma specialist from North Carolina Baptist Hospital in Winston-Salem. I was involved, looked at Kyle Petty. They're giving him some fluids, and he should be okay. Jimmy Hensley is in the race car.
And Jerry, right behind you, Ernie Irvin is pitting. Further up pit road, Rusty Wallace is in, as is Jimmy Spencer. All 3 getting probably their final service. Remember, Ricky Rudd, who was also in the lead lap, is pitting on the backstretch. 18 seconds for Rusty, 18.4 for Irvin, and 21.8 for Spencer. Here's John Kernan.
Right side tire is already on the number 5 Tide Chevrolet as Rusty Wallace and Ernie Irvin come down the backstretch. Ricky Rudd was running in 2nd place. They will pass him by. Left side going on. A really quick pit stop for Ricky Rudd's crew, but it looks like I think he beat Jimmy Spencer down to the end of pit road, so he should line up 3rd.
No, he didn't, John.
No.
He didn't.
He's fourth.
Yep, Spencer will be third and Rudd fourth. But with only 40 laps to go, we're getting down to it. And we should be going back to green here in just a couple of more laps. We'll be right back. 463 out of 500 laps completed. Ernie Irvan leads Rusty Wallace, Jimmy Spencer, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Jarrett now moves into 5th position. Michael Waltrip is 6th. Good run for him. Terry Labonte 7th. Dick Trickle, Jeff Bodine, and Morgan Shepherd. Now, Dale Earnhardt has been losing laps with the car sitting behind the wall, and he has now dropped out of the top 20.
He's currently being credited with 25th, Bob.
Boy.
And we showed Dick Trickle in 7th place in the 27 car. That's the car that Brett Bodine started.
Right. Still no indication that they're going to go back to racing conditions, so we're going to take another commercial break so we can bring you as much green flag action as possible. We are back at Martinsville. We are under green. Jeff Bodine just spun at the entrance to the backstretch. No caution. He finally gets the car running again and headed in the right direction. And so we avoid another caution. It is Irvan, Wallace, and Jimmy Spencer and Ricky Rudd running up front.
That was expensive for Jeff Bodine. He was running in 9th place, and he lost, what, a lap over there, Ned?
Yep, he sure did. He lost another lap.
And here it is.
And we can see he just gets the car sideways, and around he goes.
Woo, Jeff Gordon just barely got around him without becoming involved.
Now then, can Rusty catch Irvan? He has a couple of times today. A couple of times he hasn't.
Yep.
Which car shows up this time? The one that can? The one that can.
Not count out Jimmy Spencer, because remember, Jimmy Finning told us that that car runs best after a few laps under green.
Now, they had elected not to make a pit stop on that one caution, and that seemed to hurt him, but now they have come in, taking on fresh tires, so he should be in good shape, and maybe after he runs a little while, maybe he'll be okay.
The top 5 in NASCAR Winston Cup points and where they are running. Earnhardt behind the wall, 25th and losing positions. Rusty Wallace is 2nd. Martin is 17th. Jarrett 5th. And Shepherd 9th. If points were awarded right now, it would close to less than a 100-point lead by Dale Earnhardt over Rusty. Jarrett into 3rd. Martin back to 4th. Shepherd 5th.
94 points it would be.
Wow.
Hard to believe in 2 weeks that it has changed that dramatically. It
Yep.
happened last year, though, with Bill Elliott.
Yeah.
That's right. Alan Kawicki left over 278 points out. We said
like
that in
we
our
did.
tease. He was
Yep.
278 points out and won the championship. So
Dr. Jerry Punch down there with Larry McReynolds of the Ernie Irvan team.
And Larry watching his car run. Larry, let me congratulate you on the Western Auto Mechanic of the Race Award. You guys have really had a great operation, a great car this afternoon.
Well, we really have. You know, I still got about 25 laps to go, and you know what this place can do to you. Really be nice to win a race, you know. And I wish our buddy could be here with us, but I know he's looking down on us. Hopefully we can take it to the end.
He's referring to Davey Allison, of course. Let me show you what he wrote. I held up on this piece of paper that when it was given to me, it said Western Auto Mechanic of the Race. He marked through mechanic and wrote team. That's what kind of guy Larry McReynolds is.
And the Haviland Ford never won here at Martinsville with Rusty Wallace driving, so Davey Allison driving. So if Ernie can pull off the victory here today, you know,
Rusty's never won them. Never driven the Haviland.
Yeah.
But you're right. No Allison's ever won your race, Ned.
Not to my knowledge, except not Winston Cup competition.
Yeah.
I think Bobby won a modified race here. Not Winston Cup.
Rusty has won on this track twice, this race and the spring race. 2 cars are officially out of the race. That is very unusual for Martinsville. Only Harry Gant and Jimmy Hensley are out of the event.
Of course, Earnhardt's in the pits, and they're working on the car. Technically he's out, but they're still trying to get him back out to make some laps. He's dropped down to 26 now, hasn't he, Denny?
Yes, he lost another spot. The 75 car got by him. And in 9 more laps, Rick Mast will go by.
We have seen races here at Martinsville with very high attrition because of the axle problem that we had not too long ago. Breaks, but only 2 out of the event today. And there on the fourth.
Oh, there the spin. Michael, is that Michael Walter? No,
it's
Derek Cope. Looks like the right front tire is completely flat on that car.
Don't think there's going to be a caution.
And he gets the car off the racetrack and heads for pit road. And Jeff Purvis is very, very slow coming off the fourth corner.
20 laps to go.
It's almost like he and the 98 car made some contact.
Cope has made it to the backstretch pit, and he'll change rubber on the right side.
He was being shown in 19th position before this happened.
As Irvin comes down the backstretch.
Less than 20 laps to go.
Ernie Irvin has only won 1 race this year. That was at Talladega.
And Ernie's never won here, has he?
No,
he has not.
And he's able to put some distance on Rusty Wallace, but I tell you, Ricky Rudd right behind this in 3rd place, 4th place actually.
Yeah, he's
right
working on 3rd.
There is working on 3rd.
Yeah, he's a close 4th. Let's see what happened to Derek Cope in the 98. Got some tape here that.
There he is in the yellow car, and it looks like the car coming into the turn. He locked the brakes, it looked like, and then Phil Parsons couldn't get stopped and bumped him just a little bit going into the turn. But it looked like Derek was trying to jam the brakes on coming in.
The right front tire was flat, and the reason for that is the brakes had melted the inside of the tire. The bead on the tire had melted the brakes and gotten so hot on that car. Here's a race for 3rd place, still rages on. Spencer has it, Rudd trying to take it away. Spencer in the 12, the black and yellow Meinke car, Rudd in the orange and white Tide Chevrolet. Tell you what, Ford will be loving this if the end will keep on the way it is, because if a Ford wins, Pontiac runs 2nd and a Chevrolet 3rd,
it would close to within 3. Phil only has a half a rear spoiler.
Man, that's got to be exciting.
Good thing he's not on one of those real high-speed racetracks.
I tell you what, he has no air at all going through the grill of that car, because when he hit the 98 car, he has mashed the, look at that.
Yeah.
Mashed the grill completely shut. I think Ford was, what, 9 points behind going into this race behind Chevrolet?
Yeah, the new points would have Chevy with 163 and Ford with 160, Pontiac 152. So definitely close up. Well, Ernie Irvin is within now 14 laps of winning his first race with the Robert Yates owned Texaco Haviland Ford team. They're the top 5. Just a little over 8 laps to go here at Martinsville in the Goodies 500. Ernie Irvin is the leader, and if he wins, he'll pick up the Unocal bonus money, which only amounts to $7,600 because it was won last weekend at Dover. But the last time that this race was won from the pole was way back in 1981. That was Darrell Waltrip.
Can you imagine all that big money for winning the pole and winning the race? And Ernie gets $7,600.
Oh, well.
Hey, he wants a victory. Right now, he's not worried about the $7,600 or $76.
Here's Jerry Punch. Here's what's left of Dale Earnhardt's ring gear. Just came out of the rear end. See the teeth here are all chewed away, particularly down in here. This rear end will cost him a lot of points, and the crew hears that this rear end could possibly cost him $1 million.
Well, we did the track fact on that, and I must compliment Benny Parsons, who predicted that this could be a problem on Tuesday when we got together for our conference call. Benny, Dale continues to slip, doesn't he, in the standings?
Yeah, he's back to 28th right now, the Rick Master in the 68 car.
And the lead is less than 100 points. The difference between Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace, who continues to run second here, with now less than 5 laps to go.
And right now, the race for 3rd is kind of stabilized. Spencer has pulled away from Ricky Rudd. He's probably got 10 car lengths on him as we're watching.
Oh, but he goes sideways off the turn, Spencer did, as you were saying that, baby. He gathered back in, but it looked like there's on a dirt track coming off that turn.
Just goes to show me, don't brag on Jimmy.
And here it is. He's driving his heart out.
There he is again.
Oh.
Well, that's when I saw it. Yeah, that was a replay. I thought he did it again off the turn, too. Ricky Rudd closed in a little bit on him during that time.
now with less than 3 laps to go. If he wins, it'll be his 8th career win, his 2nd short track victory. His first NASCAR Winston Cup win was at Bristol in 1990.
And Dale Earnhardt lost another spot. The 16 car, Wally Donomack, is back. He's back to 29th right now.
Remember we said in the opening of the show that Dale Earnhardt had his worst finish of the year last year when he had engine problems in the early going. He's going to come out of here with a very poor finish also because of the gear problem.
Martinsville has not been good to Earnhardt lately.
It is a very pivotal race in the Winston Cup Championship. The white flag waves for Ernie Irvan, who's less than a half a mile away from his first victory with this team. And there is the situation with Earnhardt. He continues to sit behind pit wall and watch his NASCAR Winston Cup points lead diminish. Here is a big win for Ernie Irvan and for the Robert Yates, Larry McReynolds, Texaco Havoline Ford team.
This is very emotional.
Rusty Wallace comes home 2nd, Spencer 3rd, and Ricky Rudd is 4th. A lot of happy crew members down there, and you know that they're also thinking about one Davey Allison this afternoon.
Yep, I was too, Bob.
There's Rusty Wallace, who has significantly cut into the points lead despite the fact he didn't win, but he ran 2nd here today and ran a very strong race. We'll be back to talk with Ernie Irvan, the winner, in a moment.
Back at Martinsville Speedway, the Goodies 500 is history, and Ernie Irvan is climbing out of this Havoline Ford and trying to get out of this driver's suit because it is extremely hot down here. Ernie, congratulations on an outstanding effort, a dominating day.
Well, I tell you, it's pretty emotional. The whole time I kept thinking, you know, Davey never made it to victory lane here. Bobby never has. And everybody had their own idea what they wanted to do for victory lane. I've been wearing this shirt since I started driving this car. I knew we could do it. This is for Davey.
A very emotional win here as he gets he wears a Davey Allison shirt, and he gets a big hug here from wife Kim. He's just trying to get his breath. Let's let him just enjoy the emotion. Ernie, it seemed like nobody else could run close to you. Rusty could get you a little bit on the restart, but you had an awfully strong car.
I tell you, Larry McReynolds put this is probably the best car it's ever hit. Martinsville Speedway, you know. I mean, it just went all day, and we changed the bite one time during the day, and you know, they did a great job. They did a great job in the pits. You know, Rusty was a competition, but this Texaco Havoline Ford Thunderbird sure ran great all day.
An emotional moment. On the verge of tears, he is exhausted. He is in victory lane, saluting a fallen comrade, Davey Allison.
Both an emotional and very tiring day for Ernie Irvan, who has done it. He has won for the Robert Yates team here at Martinsville in the Goodies 500. Rusty Wallace finishes in 2nd position, Jimmy Spencer 3rd, Ricky Rudd was 4th, and Dale Jarrett ran a strong race today, finishing not on the lead lap but in 5th position. 6 through 10, Brett Bodine with some relief help, and there is the rest of the finishing order here in Martinsville. And you're going to notice that Dale Earnhardt, because of that mechanical problem he experienced, finishes way down in 29th position and has a very disappointing day again here at Martinsville, resulting in his points lead dwindling away. Dale Jarrett moves up a spot, knocking Mark Martin out of 3rd. Morgan Shepherd remains in 5th position. Thanks to Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, Dr. Jerry Punch, and John Kernan, and thank you for joining us here at Martinsville. Ernie Irvan has won. We'll see you next Sunday afternoon at North Wilkesboro. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone.